Did you miss me? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Hello, hello. Where's my mic gone? No! Oh, hang on. It is working. I was looking at the wrong thing. You can hear me. You can hear me. Hey, how's it going, everyone? Evening in the UK. How's your weekends been? Sorry, I was looking at the wrong input thing there. I was like, oh no, the mic's not working. It is, it is. 5 AM Australia, you are committed. Yes, welcome everyone. Hope you're good. Thanks, James. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, thank you, guys. Yeah, I suppose I'll start off very quickly, guys. The big news, if you're not part of my Discord community, is that the reason I wasn't able to make the sprint race and the qualifying yesterday is me and my missus are having a baby. And we found out the gender yesterday. So we went for a scan. Found out the gender, and then we didn't have some flashy gender reveal party. It coincided with a family event that was going on, and we just told close family. So it's end of life to come. I know, Mark. I know. So yeah, we're having a little girl. So yeah, the stuffy household is getting a lot bigger. So yeah, no, thank you guys. So that was my family commitment that I had yesterday, which yeah, took priority, of course, over the sprint race. But it was a good sprint race, though. I did catch some of it. But yeah. Buy a backyard. Oh, but yeah, no, looking forward to this Miami GP. Hopefully we're in store for a good one. I'm still a little bit hesitant. I think the sprint race yesterday was okay. But the thing that we'll have today, at least, is some strategy to play in it. So, will I have to baby-proof my PC setup? I will, Ghost. Yeah, I'm going to have to put some, I'm going to have to get some foam and put it around the sharp edges. Oh, really, Mark? You've been through it all and done that. So yeah, no, it'll be our first, and I'm really excited and really looking forward to it. So the missus is over the moon. So yeah, and so am I. So am I as well. Yeah, she can be whatever she wants to be, but she will definitely be involved with F1. That's something I'm definitely going to make sure that she's interested in racing and F1, and yeah, all the other geeky stuff that I like as well. So, but back to reality after qualifying for Ricardo. It's nice to see him shine again. Yeah, so we'll have a little chat. The reason I wanted to go a little bit live earlier than normal, the extra half hour earlier, is because of what I missed yesterday, the sprint race and then the qualifying that happened afterwards, because there's quite a bit to discuss. We'll have a look at the usual pit strategies that are on offer today that Pirelli have suggested, and of course the tyre allocations. Have been able to locate those graphics for you guys. But we'll do that a little bit later as we're approaching the start of the race. Some laps for you to take note of when drivers are intended to start their pit windows, basically. Leclerc intentionally stopped going for poles. Yeah. She'll grow up and beat me on a sim. Probably. I'd hope so. I got into sim racing and just racing in general very late in life. So, yeah, if she's going to be doing it from the get-go. Pacifier treatment graduation. Yeah, but no, welcome everyone. Hope you're doing well. Hit the like button if you can. Hopefully we can smash our PB as we have done in the last 2 streams in succession. But let's start off, shall we, with the sprint race yesterday. So, thoughts and opinions on the sprint race. We're just going to talk about that, what happened yesterday, Mario, first, before we head on to the race in front of us this evening. But what was everyone's genuine consensus of the sprint race? Was it exciting for you? Was it a bit meh? How did you feel about it? What was your assessment of it? Pretty decent, 8 out of 10. Okay. Obviously, Max was going to win. Well, it was closer than I thought it was going to be. When you looked at the actual... Of course, there was a safety car. But I think the safety car, if anything, helped Max yesterday. Because Charles Leclerc was putting Max under a bit of pressure during that first lap until the safety car came out. So I think Charles potentially could have had a go at Max down into... the end of the back straight, because he was very close, but then the safety car came out. But of course we had the incident at the start. But I will, firstly, it was an interesting sprint race, I'll give you that. However, when you look at the actual on-track overtaking, there wasn't a lot that actually happened. I mean, the fact of that Daniel Ricciardo, as much as a great performance it was by him, and fair play, and I'm happy he got that 4th position, the fact of it, a Ferrari and a McLaren couldn't get past a V-carb car kind of is an indication of just what this circuit provides. So, it would be better if more points were rewarded on sprint races. I think I agree with that, Trent. Yeah, there needs to be more to play for, doesn't there? There needs to be more to play for. But yeah, Kevin Magnussen was just on one yesterday, wasn't he? He provided us with some well-needed drama. However, he definitely crossed the line, literally, a couple of times. And I think penalties need to be more severe. I think the time penalty doesn't really work anymore unless you give them like a drive-through. Because those time penalties just didn't work. He openly admitted it and said, yeah, I was doing everything that I could for the team. Hamilton ended up losing a position to Tsunoda. Of course, he got the pit lane penalty in the end anyway. But, yeah. Sprint was all about Ham and Magnussen. Yeah, it provided us with some well-needed drama, but definitely crossed the line, for sure. Now, let's get to the juicy part. I ran a poll yesterday. Who was most at fault? This was when I was at the family event, and I was like, I want to see what people's initial thoughts are on this. So I ran a poll. Who was most at fault for the Turn 1 incident? Where Lando Norris, of course, was a passenger and got taken out in that race. And we had Lance Stroll, Alonso and Hamilton kind of come together at the first corner. I ran a poll. Firstly, I'm going to ask you guys in chat. Who was most at fault for that? Was it Lance Stroll? Was it Fernando Alonso? Or was it Hamilton, as Alonso suggests? Who do you think? Lando's fault. Racing incidents, yeah, but we're not playing. We're doing the missed apex thing here, Taco. We are not saying it's a racing incident. We are predominantly laying blame with someone here. I've got my own opinion, and I will tell you it in a second. But I just want to see what everyone else has said. I've got the poll results here as well, and it's overwhelmingly in favour for an individual. Which I don't agree with, actually. Feel sorry if you have to watch F1 on Sky Sports. Yeah, well, I've kind of been skipping the preamble stuff, road, to be honest with you, but for obvious reasons. Stroll, it was Perez. So Stroll, Hamilton, Stroll being Stroll, Hamilton expanded this incident. Alonso was just avoiding Ham. Right, so let me just get up my... well, there's no point in me getting up my TV coverage yet. So let's have a look at the results of the poll. I'll show you this. Hang on. So, this is the results of the poll. 72% of people said it was Lewis Hamilton, 8% said Alonso, and 20% said Stroll. So, That's basically that. That's all I wanted to show you guys. Oh, hang on. Sort all that out in a bit. We'll go back to this one. Let's see. I think it was... I'm going to say, not 100%, but I am going to say it's 95% Stroll's fault. Lance Stroll turned into Fernando Alonso well too soon. Well too soon. Stroll has previous for this. He turns into corners way too early, causes contact with drivers, and expects them not to be there. Alonso was, yes, avoiding Hamilton. He left the gap on the inside and saw that Hamilton was coming up his inside. But Lance Stroll still turns in way too sharply. Just turns in way too sharply, as if he's not there. Has contact with Alonso before Hamilton even gets to them. And I've seen defense. I've seen obviously in the defense of Alonso and Stroll, the reason it's Hamilton's fault is because he locks up at the point of the apex of the corner. Now, the only reason he locks up at the point of the apex of the corner is because Alonso is being forced over into Hamilton's path because of the contact by Stroll. So the only thing I can compare this to is obviously when I'm in sim racing. You are under braking, and then if someone cuts off the gap in front of you, and then you're applying a certain amount of pressure as you're going into that corner, which I still think if Alonso was on normal trajectory, if Lance Stroll didn't turn in too early, it would have been close, but I think Hamilton would have made that pass. Would he have made it stick? I don't know, because he probably wouldn't have had enough traction on the inside there, but he at least would have put himself in a position to make up a few places, and he would have got away without making any contact there. So he's applying a certain amount of pressure that he thinks is suitable to get into and through that corner. It's only when Alonso's car is starting to come right in front of Hamilton that he applies, of course, more pressure because he knows contact's going to be made, and that's when a lockup occurs. But if Stroll didn't turn into Alonso in the first place, held his initial trajectory a more wider line, and didn't think that there was just empty space on his inside, they would have been okay. Now, the reason why Alonso has gone on the attack of Hamilton is because he's not going to blame his teammate whose dad pays his wages. That's pretty much the simple reason. If that was any other driver, Alonso would be having a go at Lance Stroll, or whoever the driver would be in Lance Stroll's position. So that is the reason why it is predominantly Lance Stroll's fault. Now, Hamilton is entitled to be in that space. There was space that was left that he went into, and the contact between the two Aston Martins was occurring before Hamilton even arrived on the scene. So, yeah, I think that's without that contact or that early turn-in by Lance Stroll, that incident isn't happening. Lando Norris takes a wider line to avoid Lance Stroll in the first place, and yeah, all four of them get through that corner absolutely fine. So I think it's another one where Lance Stroll isn't getting enough blame here, and Alonso is a genius when it comes to media. He knows how to direct the media in a certain way. He's now considered the wily old fox, and people listen to him, and fans do, and kind of like PR teams and stuff. And there's no way he's going to criticise Lance Stroll. He's going to put the blame on Hamilton, even if Hamilton broke earlier and didn't arrive on the scene when he did, because, yeah, he's not going to blame the guy whose dad pays his wages, gives him a seat in F1, you know. Just signed a brand new contract with him. He's not going to go, what the fuck was Lance Stroll doing? So, yeah, that's my assessment on it. And I think a lot of I get why people think Lewis is at fault, but Lewis is not in fault with that. And I think a lot of it just comes through hate of Lewis Hamilton, rather than actually looking at the situation as a whole. One thing we can agree on is that Alonso definitely wasn't at fault for that. He's the one who left room, ended up with nowhere to go because his teammate turned in too early. And because Hamilton took advantage of space that was left for him, Alonso could only turn into that space he'd left, that was then occupied by Hamilton. And Lando was just a complete passenger. So, yeah. But it wasn't really a four wide turn one incident though, Taco. The reason that incident was caused was because of someone not having someone who's known for not having a lot of spatial awareness, has previous of turning into corners when drivers are there, and he's done it on his own teammate. And I just think it's a lack of spatial awareness and a lack of skill that he's showcased throughout the 8 years of him in F1. It's a rookie mistake. The 8-year rookie strikes again, and he's got away with it. I just don't know how he hasn't got more flack, Lance Stroll, online. It's ridiculous. So, who here likes McLaren? I do. I like McLaren. Hence why I've got Lewis Hamilton in the McLaren. I love that car. Love that era of car. What a beautiful looking car that was with the Vodafone chrome livery. Mwah. Beautiful. That's okay. We can agree to disagree. Look, the stewards are more on your side, Taco. I'm not a steward, but the stewards have said that they couldn't assign blame wholly on anyone, which is why they saw it as a turn one incident. But I think if Lance Stroll starts it on, he just starts off that chain reaction. If he just doesn't turn in too early, then yeah, we avoid all that. But hey ho. So yeah, that's my thoughts. The sprint race was okay. Positives from the sprint race was that Charles Leclerc was able to maintain a reasonable gap to Max Verstappen. So we've seen Max, of course, just breeze into the distance or fly off into the distance on sprint races, as we saw in Shanghai, and just on race distances as a whole. So the fact of that Charles, after 18 laps, was able to be within only 3 seconds of Max bodes well for today. But that's quite a tight margin for when it comes to strategy, which is going to be important today. We know that there's potential with safety cars as well at this circuit. I don't think, unfortunately, guys, there's no rain for this evening's race. So, yeah, unfortunately, Miami is going to be another dry one. We just got to hope that there's drama provided on track somewhere, or in the form of strategy. And hopefully something's going to be done out up front. Hopefully Charles can get a decent start and get ahead of Max, but Max just hasn't had I can't remember the last time Max has had a bad start. Can you? I think he's nailed every single start that he's had, even like the restarts when they've had red flags and stuff. So couldn't agree more about Lewis incident. Stroll, typical BS, no awareness. That's kind of my assessment. That's the short assessment, Christian. Those are the headlines. He could have just said it was a racing incident. That would have been more diplomatic. To blame Lewis, explain. Well, it's not. Alonso's going down a very. He needs to be careful because he's now he's almost throwing the race card out. He's claiming Lewis Hamilton got away without a penalty because of his nationality, because he isn't Spanish. And I think he reiterated that in an interview as well. Alonso needs to be careful because you can't start throwing accusations around like that. That's for sure. Like, just because you got given a penalty for last time. I mean, this is the thing. This is why I know people are against it. I think we should have the same stewards throughout the course of the season. This is what you get when you've got different stewards at each race. They all have a different view upon similar race incidents. One will think it's a penalty and the other won't. Or one week they'll think it's a penalty, the other they won't. So I get why he's aggrieved, Alonso. However, the difference is that, of course, we know that the difference is that we saw him on signs, call signs to run very wide off circuit. And I think they made contact, whereas Hamilton didn't. There was contact before Hamilton even arrived at that corner between Stroll and Alonso. So that's the difference in the incidents there. But if he wants consistency, he shouldn't be having a go at the stewards for preferring a driver because of their nationality. He should be calling for the same stewards across the season so that we've got the same people. We know where they stand, and then we should get more consistency. But we haven't got that in F1 at the moment, which is a real shame. So it is a bold card to play. It is a massive bold one, and I don't think it's the right route. There's better ways to deal with it than just throwing that accusation around because it's totally false. If anything, we've seen Hamilton get a number of penalties. On the flip side, you could argue some of the statements that have been made about him after races and stuff by the FIA, you could say, well, if you wanted to play devil's advocate and go the other side. So, yeah, I don't think nationality comes into it at all. At all. So, it's a sprint, not a marathon. Who's my favourite driver on grid? Well, it is predominantly Lewis. I'm a massive fan of the Brits, George Russell and Lando Norris. Even though I did think Lando bottled it on Friday when it came to qualifying for the sprint race. He should have been on pole position, but he wasn't. And let's talk about qualifying, shall we? So I need to just jog my memory of what the actual grid is for today. What is the final grid for today? Because wasn't there some like post-race penalty, post-qualifying penalties and stuff like that? Hang on, let's go to F1. I'm pretty sure there was some penalties dished out, wasn't there? Let's have a look at what the official grid... Here we go. Official grid. Right. Let's load this up. So we have Max Verstappen on pole position from Charles Leclerc. Carlos Sainz in third. We have Sergio Perez fourth. Lando is starting fifth with Oscar Piastri sixth. George Russell 7th, Lewis Hamilton 8th, Nico Hulkenberg 9th, Yuki Tsunoda starting 10th. Very much better performance from him compared to sprint qualifying on Friday. Lance Stroll 11th, Pierre Gasly 12th, and Esteban Ocon 13th. Good drives from them in qualifying for the Alpines, just outside the top 10. Alex Albon in 14th, Fernando Alonso being out-qualified for his teammate for the first time in God knows how long, and is starting 15th. It's I think that's only like the third or fourth time he's missed Q3 in the last 2 years, Fernando Alonso. That's how good he is in qualifying. Bottas 16th, Sargent. Whee! Sargent's not on the bottom. He is 17th, Magnussen 18th, Zhou Guanyu in 19th, and Daniel Ricciardo is now starting at the bottom of the grid. Penalised 3 grid places for overtaking under safety car conditions at the previous rounds. So, yeah, Daniel Ricciardo, very different change of fortunes there in qualifying after what was a great sprint qualifying and sprint weekend. He did say that the tyre warm-up, I saw his onboard lap earlier online, his tyre warm-up for that qualifying session was just, they don't understand it. Just couldn't get them into a window, a temperature window, and he had no grip. He was driving on ice. So that's why Daniel Ricciardo starting 20th. But we'll see if he can make up positions today. He's done well enough in the sprint weekends for this to be a sprint race and sprint qualifying for it to be a good weekend for him. So he needs to now just hopefully recover as many positions as he can and not let people get recency bias, basically, that he's washed, because he's not, I don't think. So, comment guy, we want to see a subscribe channel. Yeah, keep hitting the like button, subscribe button, guys. We will be changing scene shortly. Once I've got the data up for the race, we'll be changing over to that, but we're just chatting for now. We will have a look at the Pirelli strategy and the tyre allocation for today in a moment. Of course, not really, it's not I'll get a little spoiler for you, it's not a multiple stop strategy unless we're going to have safety cars, that's for sure. So yeah, I don't know if we need, do we need a safety car today? I don't know. If it's a one stopper, you kind of need two. We need 2 safety cars today. 1 safety car isn't enough, really. Because 2 safety cars, 1 safety car is just going to basically allow drivers to pit onto the hard tyre and go the whole race distance, I think, or the majority of the race distance, which we don't want to see. Similar to what we saw in Saudi, kind of removed any element of strategy that we saw. So we either want no safety cars or we want 2 safety cars, so that it forces drivers to make another pit stop onto, say, fresher, softer tyres, softer compound tyres. So, but weird how Australians are really going to work. I know. Do I like them from Miami Ferrari livery? I'm not a fan. Yeah. While it's the thumbnail, I'm not a fan. I think they copped out. They Alpined us, guys. Ferrari Alpined us. It's 1 a.m. for you. Get on the coffee, August. Make yourself a brew. We've still got half an hour until this race, 35 minutes until the race starts. Right, let me just get my Sky TV coverage up, and then we'll have a look at the tyre allocations for today. Safety car, but near the end of the race? Possibly. Possibly. Because Pirelli have brought tyres that will just work for like the whole race distance. They're the same compound of tyres that we had last year. So, Red Bull livery fault. Same as it has been. Same as it has been. Thoughts on Zach Brown and McLaren inviting Trump to the garage for the Miami GP? Did he? Look, whatever your political belief is your political belief at the end of the day. Entirely up to them. So, I'm not really going to get into politics and stuff. Everyone has their own minds. We're here for F1. I'll talk about F1 politics. That's where I'll get involved and get interested. Can't stay to watch, try, but I won't get away watching. No worries, Nilo. No worries, Nilo. Well, good to see you, buddy. The next couple of races will be at a more suitable time. Well, I say a suitable time for you Aussies. It will be at least not during school time. But yeah, it's nice to have a bank holiday tomorrow. We've got a day off work tomorrow, guys, here in the UK, where I am going to do a day stream. Yes, I'm going to do a very rare day stuffy stream. So turn your notifications on if you haven't already. But 3:30 AM right now, that's not too bad. But right, let's have a look, shall we, at the strategies for this Miami Grand Prix, guys. Let's have a look. Hey, Supremacy. I don't think it will be, well, it will be a Super Formula Light stream, but not too many of them. Not if it's raining, because I haven't had much luck this week, James. That's for sure. Absolutely tanked my safety rating. Right, so here are your strategies for today. This is the new graphic by F1. I can't find the Pirelli one, but this is basically what Pirelli are saying to us. We have 4 strategies that are on offer today. We could either have the medium to hard, which was the preferred strategy last year, which most people started on. However, those on the alternate strategy who started on the hard compound tyre, like Max Verstappen, I think Lewis Hamilton did as well, those who were a little bit further down the grid, they ended up massively benefiting from that alternate strategy on the hard compound tyre. So that is something to keep an eye out on today, guys. I wonder if anyone at the front, that's the risk they're going to run, is that if they're at the front and they start on the hard compound tyre, they're at risk of not being able to get those tyres up to temperature, lose a lot of positions at the start of the race, whereas the mediums, you're going to have more grip because it's softer, and so you'll be able to get them up to temperature quicker. But last year, the primary race strategy, or the best one, was strategy number 2. I don't expect to see anyone doing strategy 3 or 4. I still think the medium will come into play unless drivers don't have any medium compound tyres left. We'll have a look at that in a second. But I don't really expect anyone to start on the soft compound tyre. I think it'll be either the medium or hard. Those further down the grid will probably try that alternate strategy. Starting on the hard compound leaves them open to try and go long and go onto the soft at the end, or onto the medium. It leaves them with that opportunity of both. If you're on the soft, then you're committing yourself to the hard tyre. So, yeah. That's what I expect to see today, guys. I don't know what time Indian time it starts, but yeah, half an hour. So wherever you are in the world, half an hour from now, the race will start. But over 200 of you in the stream, thank you for this pre-race discussion. We've had a little chat about the sprint race yesterday, our thoughts on it and on qualifying. So if you want to have a catch up on that, you can do. Just roll the YouTube scroller back before we start this race today. Just hope Mercedes don't struggle. Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you, Corley, but I expect them to. So, yeah. Unfortunately, they're not in a great place this year. But, yeah, so that's the strategies for today. Simple one-stop strategy. I'm really not optimistic. That's why, really, we need there to be either no safety car or 2 safety cars. One is going to ruin any sort of strategy, just because drivers are just going to come in and pit onto the hard compound tyre. I still expect most people to be on the start on the medium, and then they're just going to pit onto the hard compound tyre and go to the end of the race. I don't expect these pit windows to be very relevant. I mean, if they start on the hards, Max Verstappen went 45 laps, 47 laps last year on a set of hard compound tyres. Bearing in mind, I think it's a 56-lap race. So that's, yeah, nearly 90% of the race distance on one set of tyres, which was just ridiculous. And he was getting quicker and quicker. But here are the tyre allocations. So let's have a look at what drivers have got available to them today. Hey, Gibbon, good to see you. They've been struggling since the season to begin. I get why Lewis decided. Yeah, so this Mercedes just have dropped the ball massively with this regulation set, and they're a year behind. So I wouldn't expect them. I wouldn't expect them to win kind of really any races between now and next till 2026, to be honest with you. But right, here we go. So tyre allocations for today. We have Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez, George Russell and Lewis Hamilton, with the only drivers in that top 10 with 2 brand new hard compound tyres available. The only way I see that being beneficial is if there's 2 safety cars, really, and they can put on a fresh set of hard tyres. They have got softs available to them, but the softs seem to be very temperamental here this weekend with tyre warm-up, whereas the hard compound tyre might be the better choice. George Russell has 2 new sets of used mediums available, and Hamilton only has 1. The Red Bulls both have a brand new set of mediums available to them. That could be key for them today. Leclerc, Sainz, Piastri and Norris all have a brand new set of mediums as well. So I do expect to see them start on the medium compound tyre. I think Russell and Hamilton will do as well. It says used, but I think that's only from the qualifying session that they did yesterday. So they're like 2 laps old, 3 laps old. Then we go further down the grid and we can see here Alonso's got a couple of brand new sets of softs. Interestingly, that Norris has a brand new set of softs as well. Wonder if he'll use those today. Maybe if there's a late safety car, he might be beneficial of that soft tyre. And then we have Ocon, Gasly, Albon, Sargent. Everyone here has got a brand new set of hards. We know it's the race tyre today. Ricciardo doesn't have a brand new set of mediums, which is interesting. He has more soft tyres available to him. Of course, not making it out of Q1 yesterday. But interesting that he only has 3 sets of mediums or used mediums available. So that might put him at a disadvantage. But we'll see. We will see. Do I think Newey will go to Ferrari? I think he will, but I'm not 100% sure he will though. There's a lot of variables for him to not go to Ferrari. There's a history with Italy in general, where he got dragged through the courts for a faulty part that supposedly he was at fault for. He got dragged through the courts for manslaughter for Senna's death, I think it was, for 20 odd years. Of course, Ferrari, will they accept remote working? We don't know. Language barrier, I don't know. We'll see. It'd be great. It would be great, but yeah. Hey, Petrus. I remember you, buddy. I remember you. Feel so bad for DR3 PO4 in SQ. Yeah, it was just... It's a weird one this weekend. It's a weird one in regards to how the tyres have been performing. So, but yeah, that is the race strategies today, guys. Highlights are basically it is a one-stop. Intrigued to see who is going to start on the medium compound tyre. Expect the front runners to start on that medium. I wonder if Russell and Hamilton, with 2 brand new sets of hards available, because they're a little bit further down the grid, 8th and 9th, and that alternate strategy on the hard compound tyre did work last year, and it was preferable. I wonder if they will start on the hard compound and go different to those ahead of them. I suspect at least one of those drivers, Russell or Hamilton, start on the hard compound tyre. So keep an eye out for that. But not long until we see the tyre blankets come off of those cars. It's 25-2, so 25 minutes until the race starts, and it's normally about 5 minutes before, but we see the tyre blankets come off. So, Spanners thinks a Perez win. No chance. Well, I say no chance. Potentially. He's gone well here last year, and this time around Verstappen is up front with who will be on the same strategy, you'd think. So, but of course, Verstappen's got the pace. But we'll see, we'll see. It'd be nice to see someone actually get ahead into turn 1 of Verstappen for once. They haven't done that for quite some time. But yeah, not long till we go. Not long till we go. Right, let's just go back. But my top 3 today. Ooh, who's my top 3 today? I'm a positive man. I'm a positive man, and I'm going to say Charles Leclerc win today. I think we're going to see for the first time Max Verstappen not win from pole position. That's my bold call. I think Charles Leclerc win. I think Max will be P2. And then I think I'm going to go Lando P. Oh no, Lando said he's struggling with the setup. He's made changes in the setup. I actually think George Russell might get P3. If they start on the hard compound tyre, I think George Russell will sneak a P3 because that alternative strategy will work. But we'll see. We'll see. That's my bold calls. You can clip that and then you can absolutely take the mick out of me if I'm wrong, or I can just call myself a prophet. Right. We do have the data up now, so let's go. Let's have a look. How is everything here? There we go. There we go. Right. Just widen that a bit. And then I think we're all set, guys. Is that all good? You all good? All set and ready to go? Bish bash bosh. Stuffey's gone rogue. Well, no, he won't, Supremacy. So, the rule has changed this year, guys, for sprint race weekends. It used to be that you only had that 1 hour practice session on the Friday to set up your car for the whole race weekend. That's now no longer the case. It is after you have that practice session to set up the car for sprint qualifying and sprint race. Then after the sprint race, you're able to change the setup again for qualifying and the race on Sunday. Lando said he did make some setup changes that actually he now wishes he didn't make. So yeah, he's done a Lewis Hamilton, you could say. He should have just left the car as it was, and he is starting 5th. But the positive is that he made some setup changes that, yeah, still made him qualify 5th. So we'll see. Maybe Lando has got the pace today to get it done on Perez, Sainz and Leclerc. It'll be interesting to see. I'm still intrigued to see that the Ferraris haven't brought any upgrades this weekend, and they are still close to those Red Bulls. Next race, I think Imola, they're bringing quite a large upgrade package. So we'll see if, hopefully, the Ferraris can substantially close the gap on the Red Bulls with that upgrade package. I think Red Bull are saying they're starting to hit a bit of a ceiling of how much performance they can gain in this current set of regulations. So, yeah. Inevitably, Ferrari is leading that charge of catching up to Red Bull. So this is Multiviewer, so you do need an F1 live subscription, but Multiviewer is a free app. There's loads of different permutations that you can have here with loads of different info. I've got mine set up to cut my own personal layout that I think is best for you guys as the viewer and for myself to commentate on. Cheers, Bear. Dan, thank you, buddy. Thank you, man. Do I think Danny can come up in a point? He'll need some help, Lolif. Or Loif. I think he'll need some help today. He'll need the benefit of a safety car. He'll need something to help him. I don't see him going from 20th to 10th. He's got to get past Aston Martins. The Alpines don't look like slouches here this weekend, actually. Hulkenberg, of course, has been very solid, as he has been all season. Yuki's teammates up there. So, no, I think that if Danny can recover to like 15th, then that would be a good recovery in essence for him. But we'll see. We'll see. He will start on the alternative strat. Yeah, I think Ricciardo will be on the hard compound to start off with. So I think you're going to see everyone down to 7th. I do think Russell and Hamilton are going to start on the hard compound tyre. I think they're going to go for the alternative. It's their only opportunity, I think, for them to get a sniff at a podium is to do the alternative strategy. If they go like for like with McLaren and Ferrari and Red Bull, they just haven't got the pace in that car to take it to them out on track. So they need to do something different. So, but not long until we find out what tyres drivers are using. Let's see, what else should I do to keep, let's do race control. I'll keep that over to the side so that I can keep things up to date for you. And I'm going to keep an eye out on track limits as well. Potentially a few track limits that might happen. Ooh, Lando were helping get a safety car. Last 2 years he had a crash. Did he crash last year as well? Did he? Yeah, actually. Max will win again. Well, we all expect him to. He's 100% for pole positions, isn't he, at the moment? The only race he hasn't won is Australia, where he had the mechanical failure with the brake. Who knows? Maybe something will arise here today. But yeah, don't really expect it. If everything goes well, Max will potentially win the race. But he was only 3 seconds ahead of Leclerc yesterday in that sprint race. Only 3, which bodes well for us today. So hopefully it's closer. I mean, 3 seconds is not a lot when it comes to strategy. That's the difference between a slow pit stop, which we know Red Bull don't make slow pit stops, but they're never really put under pressure anyway when it comes to those pit stops. But still, you need to try and keep the pressure on somehow and stand within, not giving Max a free pit window like he has done pretty much every single race, is keeping the pressure on Red Bull. So yeah, you have to try and force them into a mistake if you can't necessarily stay with them in outright pace. Does Miami... no, unfortunately it doesn't, X1. Miami doesn't have high track deck. If anything, it's got the opposite. The problem is that because it's a temporary circuit, the track isn't really rubbered in. So the tyre... People have been struggling with the tyres to get grip. You could argue that does degrade the tyres, but not enough. Not enough, really. There's not really... I mean, there's a couple of high-loaded corners, turn 4, 5, 6, and 7, and that's it. They're the only real high-loaded corners. And, yeah, turn 17, turn 1, turn 16, they don't take enough out of the tyres and even turn 12 to really trouble them. That's why we saw last year Max Verstappen take the hard compound tyre. He started on the alternative strategy, and he took those nearly 50 laps. And it's a 57-lap race, so... Who will Stroll bonk off today? Well, we start in 11th, so my odds is on Hulkenberg, who's directly ahead of him. That's my odds, anyway. Ham's Q2 lap time less than Max's Q3 lap time would have been pulled in. Yeah, it's different, isn't it? Oh. Well, then Lando got his crash out of the way. Yeah, hopefully. Very, very busy grid walk that Martin Brundle is on at the moment. No issues in talking to who he wants to talk to. He's spoken to a few celebrities, but everyone seems to be pretty willing this year to chat to Martin. But yeah, not long to go, guys, until this race gets underway. 15 minutes. I'm just have a quick loo break so that I'm well and prepped. So yeah, if you want to do the same. And then we'll get ready for these drivers to take off those tyre blankets and see what strategies they have decided to take. I wonder if anyone's going to start on the softs. I wonder if Alonso, who's got like 3 set of softs available to him, starts on those. He did try and do that. He likes to be quite aggressive at the start, or if he's going to start on the hards. I'm intrigued to see. I think we could really see a split in the field here with like almost the top 10 starting on the medium and the bottom 10 starting on the hards. I still think those Mercedes are going to go hard compound tyre though. Still think it. I am Christian. Yes, I definitely am. Talking about iRacing now, just briefly. My safety, I've had an absolute shocker at Barcelona this week in the Super Formula Lights. I haven't enjoyed it whatsoever. The driving standards have been terrible. And I'm also not a fan of just a damage model on the car at the moment, and the incident points seems to be just very, very light, very fragile. And yeah, I've lost so much I rating and so much safety rating through no fault of my own this week. So yeah, I'll be doing probably some Super Formula tomorrow and yeah, in the coming weeks. So but yeah, right, quick loop break, guys. You can see there, unfortunately, just at the bottom of your screen, 0% chance of rain today for this race, which is a real shame. We always get teased with rain in Miami, but it never comes to fruition. So yes, let's see if something else can provide us some drama today. Maybe Magnussen's down in 18th today, so I don't think him defending from Guan Yu Zhou or Danny Ricciardo is really going to provide too much drama. It's a shame he's not starting kind of where Hulkenberg is. He might be able to get his elbows out again. Too much. But yeah, right, back in a sec, guys. Quick loo break. I may even make myself a quick coffee so that I'm wide awake for this race. But yeah, not long to go until those tyre blankets come off. Oh, I'm back. If you're not tuned into the Sky F1 coverage, why would you be? Why would you be when you're here on this stream, guys? It's nice to see someone sing the American national anthem normally and not try and put a big twist on things, you know? Right. Go on here. Why's my headset not working? Come on. Sorry guys, just a bit of tech issue. Just connection to the head. There we go. There we go. Can we hit 100 likes before the race starts, guys? At 77 likes. I'll probably do Super Formula Taco. I will do some Super Formula Lights. I'll probably just do the open races though. The fixed races in the rain are terrible at the moment. Driving standards are shocking. I've got better in it, but it's the other people that you have to be worried about. And unfortunately, yeah. I need some longer races to get my safety rating back up as well. Right. Not long, guys. Just making an edit to something. And there's one more that I want to do as well. Ooh. Will Sargent survive Miami? I think he will. I think he will. But yeah, I mean, Kimi Antonelli, the big news is that Kimi Antonelli, Ferrari have asked, Ferrari? Mercedes, look at that. Oh, she's even made it in the Mercedes Cup, guys. Right, hang on. Just checking something. I'm just putting some things on. Do I have oil? Mel said they brought upgrades. I mean, P9 to P8 isn't an upgrade improvement. Well, yeah. I mean, they're not great, are they? Let's be honest. I don't have much hope for Mercedes. If they don't start on the hard compound tyre today and go for that alternative strategy, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. Right. Do we line up the Ferrari on the grid? Yeah, he's like, where can I improve that next year? Where have they gone wrong? Yeah, that doesn't link up to that. Yeah. Priorities, Dan. Good to see your priorities. 8:51 in Monaco. Yes. Oh, you're on the same time as me then. You're not living in... Are you in Monaco? Really? Can't sleep at all. It's good to see. It's always good to see where people are in. Where are you... Before this race starts, guys, where are you watching from across the world? I know we get a lot of... It's so cool to see the YouTube analytics afterwards to see where the viewership has come from. A lot of you from Holland, from the Netherlands, tune in. Hello there. From India, South Africa, the US... UK, Australia, Germany, New Jersey, Spain, South Africa. It's so cool to see. So cool to see. And that is F1, and that's what these... I do these F1 watch-alongs for you guys, ultimately, so that we have a back and forth. I love it. And it's always just so cool to see. It's so cool to see, but it's also very intriguing to see how many of you don't have access to F1 in your country, or how expensive it is to access in your country, which is great for me because you come here for it, but it's a real shame. It's a real shame. So, yeah. Do I stream the race or just commentary? So I don't stream live TV coverage, unfortunately, Fabio, because that will be copyright and I will get my channel banned, which I do not want to do. So what I provide you guys, of course, is a track map, the data, the timings, the positions, etc., and my alternative commentary. So, and we have a bit of back and forth as well. I do obviously get into the flow of it during a race, but I do try and look at chat and have a bit of back and forth with you guys, so because that's ultimately what it's about. I started this to have interaction with you, and I've kind of just fallen into the commentary side of it. So, but evening, Charlie. Fair enough, Jeffrey. You're always welcome here. You're here for my commentary. Thanks, Monique. Thanks. Yeah, I mean, you don't get this style of commentary and these unfiltered opinions on Sky F1. I feel like they've become a little bit too, shall we say, mainstream. Well, at least start in the UK. I feel like every other, unless it's not Sky as an example, because I know Sky has like Sky Italy and stuff as well. But it feels like that Sky in particular just try this unbiased thing. I don't really get I don't really get why they try to have different pundits on if they're not going to be like giving their really kind of unfiltered opinions. That's why people love Nico Rosberg. He's not very good when it comes to like TV coverage in essence, the way he presents himself. I'd say he could be better in the way he kind of articulates himself, I guess is probably the right word, but he's unfiltered, and that's what people love. He just says it as it is, and he just doesn't care. He's like, if I don't get invited back, I don't care. Like, if that's a bad overtake, I'm saying it's a bad overtake. I'm not being this wishy-washy on, well, that's what he was trying to do. It's like, you're ballsed up and that's it. And that's what we want in sports. And that's why so many like football channels and like F1 channels and stuff now, like multiple sports have become so popular on YouTube and that, because we want those unfiltered opinions, whether we agree with them or not, rather than the sitting on the fence. Well, exactly, Daisy. Exactly. I'm not going to Silverstone at the moment, Supremacy, unless someone's watching here and would like to take this YouTuber, this wannabe YouTuber and commentator to Silverstone. But no, unfortunately, it's kind of just too much money. With a little girl on the way now, I need to save my pennies. But yeah, I don't know if Elagto are going, but if I get invited, I would happily go. I've never been to an F1 Grand Prix. I know it means I wouldn't be able to do the watch-along, guys, so I'm sorry if that does come up. But I've never been to an F1 race, and it is something on my bucket list that I'd love to do. So, thanks, Carla. Yeah, sorry, guys. Obviously, there's quite a few of you filtering in now. Yeah, the big news is that I'm having a little girl at the end of this year. So that's why I had family commitments yesterday and couldn't do the sprint race and the qualifying. So we did that, met up with family and stuff to kind of announce that to them. So yeah, but we're back. We're back, and we're only seconds away, guys. We're only a few, gotta be, I think it's one more minute until we get the tyre blankets come off and we find out what strategies people are using. Thanks, guys. Here we go. Interesting. Interesting, guys. Interesting. Thank you for the subs flying in, by the way. Thank you. We're only just a couple of minutes away until the formation lap gets underway here for the Miami GP. Welcome to all of you who are tuning in. Over 100 likes as well. Thank you very much. And thank you for all the congratulations. Yeah. At the end of this year, don't worry. She'll be gonna be she'll be sitting here in a few years' time watching me do these watch-alongs. But right. Tyre blankets are off, and everyone barring Hamilton in the top 10 or the top 14 is on the medium compound tyre. I'm still surprised that George Russell isn't on the hard compound tyre, and they were going both alternative strategies with the Mercedes. But for you Lewis Hamilton fans out there, myself included, this could be the best opportunity for him to get a result here this race and climb his way up the grid, because the hard compound tyre, the alternative strategy, was the best strategy last year, and that could be the case again this time around. But of course, those ahead of him don't want to sacrifice grip off the start line and leave themselves vulnerable to a potential incident or getting overtaken at the start of this race. So George Russell on a used set of mediums because they slightly used them in qualifying, but Alonso is on a brand new set of hards. The Astons like to just scrub off those tyres and just take them out. Bottas, the only man on the soft compound tyre. Nice to see at least one driver going for that bold, aggressive start. Magnussen is on the hards and Ricciardo on the hard compound tyre as well. So yeah, the best opportunity we saw overtaking was quite difficult here yesterday in a sprint race. The fact of it, Danny Ricciardo, as great a driver as it was, the fact of it, he was able to hold off Carlos Sainz for the duration of that sprint race, and Oscar Piastri just indicates, yeah, how tough it is here. And this race is really going to be won on strategy here today. So we'll keep an eye out on those drivers, Hamilton, Alonso, Magnussen and Ricciardo, how long they're going to take those hard compound tyres. Last year we saw Max take them 47 laps, and bearing in mind it's only a 57 lap race. So yeah, that could fall into their hands perfectly. One more sip of coffee. One little more caffeine boost, and we are only seconds away, guys, until the formation lap gets underway. Why is Russell on used tyres? He doesn't have a brand new set of mediums. As the drivers are off, guys. The drivers are underway for this Miami GP formation lap. Let me know who... Let's have a guess, guys. If it's not going to be Max Verstappen, who's going to win this race? Who's going to win this race? I still think we're going to see a race at the front here today. I don't think Max is going to drift off, blast off into the distance like he has done at previous circuits. But who do we think is going to win this race? Is it going to be Charles Leclerc, Carlos Sainz, Perez, if Max Verstappen doesn't win? Smooth operator, Oscar. If not Verstappen, then Perez. Yeah, he went well here last year as well. Ocon. Let's go Leclerc. By the way, how well was Leclerc done after that after that compromised practice session that he had with only doing one lap before spinning it? The fact of it, he put it on P2 in the sprint qualifying after very little amount of data gathering and dialing in the car. It's been a great weekend for him, and to put it on P2 again yesterday. So, Stroll. Hey Tom, good to see you, buddy. I see ya. I see you in there. Right. Yes, guys. Right, so we're only moments away from this Miami GP getting underway. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in right now. Over 100 likes already. The subscribers are going up. If you haven't subscribed already, 90% of you don't subscribe to this channel. You just tune in. If you're really liking this, it really helps myself and the channel. And, yeah. We get closer, ever closer to making this full time. So hit the subscribe button, and as well, guys, for your Monday morning commute, click the link that is in the that goes through the chat. The Missed Apex podcast, which I am a panelist of, they are there this week. The hosts are at the Miami GP, and have been doing some live performances. Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to do some more here in the UK throughout the year. But yes, here we go, guys. Verstappen lining up now. Let's have a rundown of the grid for this Miami GP after penalties have been applied. So we have Verstappen in P1. Lining up alongside him is Charles Leclerc. Carlos Sainz in third, Perez fourth on that second row. We have the two McLarens lined up alongside each other, Norris and Piastri. Likewise, the two Mercedes with Hamilton on the alternative strategy, starting on the hard compound tyre, which worked wonders last year. Hulkenberg in 9th, Tsunoda in 10th, Lance Stroll was in 11th, Gasly and Ocon in 12th and 13th, Albon in 14th. A very poor qualifying from Alonso is also on the hard compound tyre, the alternative strategy. Bottas going aggressive at the start on the softs, trying something different to everyone ahead of him. Sargent 17th, Magnussen 18th, Guan Yu Zhou 19th, and Ricciardo, after taking a penalty for overtaking under the safety car yesterday, is starting 20th, also on the hard compound. So, right, here we are, guys. We're only moments away from this Miami GP getting underway. Ricciardo lining up at the back of the grid here. It will be lights on and it's lights out and away we go as they head down into the first corner for the first time of this Miami GP. Has Verstappen got a good launch? And it seems Charles Leclerc's absolutely bottled it there at the start and is down in fourth. Oh no, he's actually got back. Apologies, it was the track map. He is okay, but he hasn't made as good of a start as Verstappen, as he's already 1 second ahead of him. But Piastri has launched himself up 3 positions at the start there into P3 with Carlos Sainz P4, Perez losing a position as well as Lando Norris. George Russell has lost 3 positions there, and Hamilton is up into 7th. So the biggest loser there is George Russell at the moment, with Piastri up into P3. And, well, you can see there that Verstappen is, well, just slightly ahead of Charles Leclerc, whereas everyone else is within that 1 second range. Bottas on the soft compound tyre started, is down 3 positions, as well as Hamilton's coming under attack from Nico Hulkenberg. But let's just quickly have a look at the replay and see what happened at the start. And, well, Charles Leclerc Charles Leclerc did actually make a very poor start. He did make a very poor start, but Perez locked up massively, nearly wiped out Carlos Sainz, which allowed Leclerc to cut back and Oscar Piastri to gain a few positions there. So it was Perez's mistake which nearly wiped out Carlos Sainz, and is why Charles Leclerc was able to regain that second place. But it was initially, as we first saw on the track map, that Leclerc made a very poor start, got swamped, but Perez massively locked up, which caused Piastri to gain as many positions as he did. And Sainz, just great avoiding action from him, saw it coming, And Piastri went, thank you very much. But unlike the sprint race, everyone got through that nice and easily. But Verstappen is P1 as we have one lap completed. Leclerc second, Piastri third, Sainz fourth, Perez fifth, and Hulkenberg gets past Lewis Hamilton, who is on the hard compound tyre. He's also under attack from Yuki Tsunoda as well. And now remember that Hamilton is on the alternative strategy, so he may be struggling for some temperature in the early stages of this race and may lose a couple of positions after those that he's gained at the start, which is fine for him. He's looking to take this tyre a very long distance throughout this race. So for Hamilton fans, as Tsunoda gets past Hamilton there as they went, oh no, sorry, there's a bit of back and forth there as they came out of turn 8. Hamilton maintains that position. DRS is now enabled as we no longer have to wait for the 2 laps as we previously did before its activation. But Verstappen, importantly for him, is 1.4 seconds ahead of Charles Leclerc. Just doesn't quite seem to have the grip as they head through that fake marina section through turns 12 and probably the worst corners in F1 on the calendar, through that chicane of 15, 14 and then into 16. But you can see there, Piastri is in the DRS of Charles Leclerc. A purple first sector for him. Will Charles Leclerc come under attack from the McLaren down into turn 17? We will see. Piastri's gaining. Sainz isn't so much at the moment. Will Hulkenberg be able to hold off Lewis Hamilton, or vice versa? Will Tsunoda be able to take over from Hamilton? We will see. But no. Oh, a bit of a change of positions at the back there. Bottas having a very poor time at the back, with Zhou making up a couple of positions there on his teammate and Magnussen. No elbows out for Magnussen thus far in this race like he did in the sprint race. Ricciardo is also down there at the back, not been able to make up any positions thus far. But you can see Perez is starting to lose a bit of time to Sainz, Piastri and Leclerc there, as he's outside of the DRS. And, well, Norris not able to stay close with those either. Have those setup changes that Norris made over the weekend, in between the sprint race and the qualifying yesterday for this main race, have they had an unintended negative effect? So yeah, not great for him at the moment. Go Oscar go. Verstappen ridiculous. 1.3 seconds over a lap. Yeah, so Leclerc seems to be gaining a bit of time back through the first and second sector. First and early part of the second sector, but then they get through this position here, through the fake marina and through turn 14, 15 and 16, and Verstappen just seems to have much better grip on exit through those slower corners, and that's where the difference is at the moment. But Piastri going very nicely. He's in the McLaren without the upgrades this weekend, and he's going very nicely there, who's getting closer and closer to the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc. I think the pace that Piastri is going at the moment, if he gets past Leclerc, he potentially could catch Max Verstappen. I think he's got very good pace at the moment. We'll see if he's able to get the job done. 33.0 for Piastri last time around, a 33.3 for Leclerc, and Verstappen a 33.1. So yeah, Piastri looks very tasty at the moment. As much as I like Charles Leclerc, I do think I'd love to see Piastri get past Leclerc here and have a go at closing that gap on Max Verstappen. The incident from Perez has been noted at lap 1, turn 1. I don't think they will really have a go at penalising Perez there, because it was just a lockup. But yeah, there we go, reviewed. No further investigation for Perez's first lap lockup, which nearly wiped out Carlos Sainz and allowed Charles Leclerc back through. But right, so in the DRS again, Oscar Piastri not close enough out of turn 8 to get the move done down into turn 11. I think his best opportunity is definitely going to be down into turn 17. How close can he stay? He's under. He gets kind of around that half a second range. And then if he can maintain that 3 tenths, I think, behind Charles Leclerc out of turn 16, he will have an opportunity at going side by side down into turn 17. He's just lost a little bit of time there on the exit of turn 16, but I think he's closer than he's ever been. Under half a second. DRS is now activated, as you can see. Keep an eye out on that orange dot of Piastri behind Leclerc. He's gaining. Is he going to have a move down into turn 17? Oh, no, but he's very close. But has he forced Leclerc out of position? He has indeed, and he's lined that move up perfectly, and Oscar Piastri is up into P2, but Leclerc will have DRS down the start-finish straight and will have an opportunity to come back at the McLaren. But is he able to make a move round the outside here of Oscar Piastri? It does seem like they've gone side by side briefly, and Piastri holds on to the position and is P2 for the time being, and Leclerc after a poor getaway at the start, unfortunate to retain that second position, is now back in third place with Carlos Sainz close behind him. Now this is going to be intriguing because Piastri does seem to have it between his teeth at the moment, and he has been going very nicely. Let's see what he can do in a bit of clean air and see if he can close the gap on Verstappen. But you can see there the gap already pulling away out of the corners. Oscar Piastri on Charles Leclerc. It was a great move by Oscar Piastri down the inside of Charles Leclerc at the end of turn 17. But let's see how Leclerc went side by side with Oscar down into turn 1. Oscar defended on the inside with no DRS. And yeah, it was a comfortable defensive manoeuvre from Oscar down into turn 1. Right, so here we go. Roles reversed this time around. Piastri will be on the defence from Charles Leclerc, but Charles is nearly 9 tenths back from Oscar at this stage of the race already, and that should be enough for Oscar Piastri to easily defend from the Ferrari of Leclerc down into turn 17. Now, what are the Ferrari drivers going to do? Is Leclerc going to be asked to move over for Carlos Sainz, or will Sainz go on the attack? Of course, this is a relationship we've seen a little bit fraught already. We saw it in China. Leclerc did get the best of Sainz, but Sainz did not get, he wasn't playing ball whatsoever. Of course, Sainz out of a seat of Ferrari at the end of the year. But Piastri last time around a 33.3 compared to Verstappen's 32.8. A very good lap time from Verstappen. But Piastri, of course, still having... Oh, a false start has been noted by Sergio Perez. Guys, Sergio Perez fans, Sergio Perez, a false start has been noted. Oh dear. Oh dear, I haven't seen a replay yet. I didn't realise he did false start, so maybe that will be the reason why Perez was able to get such a good launch at the start of this race. I didn't even realise it. Oh, that would have been terrible, wouldn't it, if he did actually wipe someone out at the start of the race, and it was due to a false start as well. Oof. Oof. But yeah, you can see there, Oscar Piastri, a 31.3, purple in the first sector, by the way, compared to Verstappen. He has closed that gap slightly, but Piastri needs to be a bit careful. Leclerc has closed that gap up. He does have DRS, 7 tenths. But this is where the Ferrari does seem to be struggling, is through that Marina section, through turns 12, 15, 14, 15 and 16. He's losing a lot of time, and you can see there Charles Leclerc is now 9 tenths back from Oscar Piastri, just retains the DRS, and that McLaren in Oscar's hands is looking pretty tasty, guys. It is looking pretty tasty. Hang on, just looking at Perez's full start. Was it a full start? Oh my god! I didn't realise how close Verstappen... Mate, Perez nearly wiped out Max at the start of the race. Oh my god, I didn't realise how close it was. He was inches away from wiping Max Verstappen out at the start of the race. Oh my god. I cannot tell you how close that was. Oh. Now that would have caused some drama. That would have caused some drama. I don't think it was a full start. It looks like it must have been milliseconds if it was. It didn't look like it was a full start like Lando did, as Lewis Hamilton all over the back of Nico Hülkenberg right now. Let's see how Nico Hülkenberg defends from Lewis Hamilton. Is he going to be elbows out like his teammate was yesterday, where he went over the line literally a number of times in his defence against Lewis Hamilton? Nico Hülkenberg on the softer medium compound tyre. Hülkenberg and Hamilton are side by side as they head through the Marina in turn 12, and I think Hamilton's just come out ahead there as Hülkenberg has had to concede through the Marina section, and Hamilton with those hard compound tyres now up to temperature 6 laps in is starting to get the best out of these hard tyres, with Nico Hülkenberg in 8th position. So a good overtake there from Lewis Hamilton. He can now focus ahead on the McLaren of Lando Norris, who just doesn't quite seem to be, well, where is he? He's doing, his lap times actually aren't too bad, although those ahead of him are just now creeping into the 32s compared to him, who is on the 33.1s. Let's just see what Lando's time is as he crosses the start-finish line, and it was a 33.1. So I think Lando already might be thinking about just looking at achieving a tyre delta at the moment, to take these medium compound tyres a certain distance. It is a long race here today, but Max Verstappen 2.6 seconds ahead of Oscar Piastri now, a 32.8 from him and a 33.3 from Piastri. So I don't know if that's just because of course, Max's supreme pace in that Red Bull, or is it because Piastri has taken out, had a mistake? Is he taken out too much of his tyres early on in this race. He can't seem to break the DRS of the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc at the moment, so potentially maybe he's just having to drive in his mirrors a little bit rather than focusing fully ahead on Max Verstappen. But you can see there Charles Leclerc under 5 tenths now. Just watching the move of Lewis Hamilton on Nico Hülkenberg as Nico Hülkenberg nearly squeezed Hamilton into the wall. Oh my god, that was... What are the Haasies doing? That was very naughty from Nico Hülkenberg. That was a la Michael Schumacher on Rubens Barrichello at the Hungaroring all those years ago. That was so close. Hamilton couldn't keep his foot in the throttle. He had to kind of lift off slightly, but was able to get the move done as Hülkenberg outbraked himself. But wow, those Haasies are defending for those lives. For their lives, as Hülkenberg has got back past. Hulk has got back past Hamilton as I was looking at that replay on the TV. So yeah, Hülkenberg has got past Lewis Hamilton, and Russell has got past Yuki Tsunoda as well. So yeah, Hamilton won't be too happy about that re-overtake from Nico Hülkenberg. We'll see if George Russell overtakes Hamilton as well here. Of course, George fighting his teammate who is also leaving at the end of this year, and I think that might be team orders as George Russell goes ahead of Lewis Hamilton down into turn 2 there. Or have the drivers gone side by side as they went into turn 1 there? I think they may have done. It did look like George got very close to the back of Lewis Hamilton, but Lewis Hamilton locked up down into turn 17, which is why Nico Hülkenberg was able to regain the position. So it was a Lewis error which allowed Nico Hülkenberg back past. But here we go again as Charles Leclerc is maintaining his attack on Oscar Piastri, and you can see there that Perez and Norris also slightly closing up that gap on Piastri and Leclerc up front there. But here we go, Hamilton on Nico Hülkenberg once again. Does he have enough to get past the Haas down into turn 11? Not quite this time around, but he is very close at the moment. If he stays where he is at the moment and maintains that half a second difference or less than half a second, he should have enough DRS to get him down into turn 17. We know that Haas is pretty pacey in a straight line at the moment. This is why they've been able to defend as well and get the results as well if they have in this early stages of the season. Welcome, Dino. Yeah, welcome, everyone. Welcome who is here today. Welcome, everyone. 48 laps left of this Miami GP. If you haven't hit the subscribe button already, what are you doing? What are you doing? We're going to be back here all season. This is the 6th race of the year. We have Imola in a couple of weeks' time. We do as many sessions that we can, and I'll always make the race sessions for you. We have, if you can hit the like button as well, over 2,000 viewers in here. Hit the like button. Go on, let's get it to 1,000 likes. There's half of you in here who haven't hit the like button. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. But yeah, welcome everyone, welcome. So we have Verstappen P1 from Oscar Piastri in P2, Charles Leclerc P3, Sainz P4, Perez, who is still being investigated for, no, he isn't, reviewed, no further investigation for the false start. So something flagged there that he false started, which was false. As Leclerc closing still on Oscar Piastri. Sainz is just waiting, ready to pounce. Perez and Norris just kind of running their own race at this moment in time. Of course, very long race. They're on the mediums. Hamilton still behind. Oh, as I say that, Hamilton gets past Nico Hülkenberg again down into turn 11. And on the hard compound tyres, regains that position from Nico Hülkenberg, which Hülkenberg defended so I say valiantly on the edge a few laps ago, nearly running Hamilton into the wall, and then only regained that position because of Hamilton locking up down into turn 17. So let's see, can Hülkenberg regain that position from Lewis, or is he going to be under attack from George Russell? I think it's more likely that George Russell is going to be attacking Nico Hülkenberg here, as Hülkenberg could lose 2 positions in the space of a couple of corners as they head down into turn 17, but Hülkenberg still benefiting from the DRS and the toe of Lewis as they go out through turn 17. There is DRS activated again as they head down into turn 1, so Hülkenberg does look close to Lewis. We know that the Haas is very quick in a straight line. I think Nico's going to have a look here as they head into turn 1, and oh no, he just holds off a little bit, doesn't have enough to get round the outside of Lewis Hamilton into turn 1 there. George Russell, I think, had to focus more on Yuki Tsunoda behind him than he was having a look at Nico Hülkenberg in front. But you can see there that Alex Albon is the first of those drivers on the medium compounds to come in and pit. He has lasted 10 laps on those medium compounds. He is down 6 positions, so he's pitted from P14, and we'll see if he will... Well, he's definitely going to take this hard compound tyre, barring no safety cars, to the end of the race 47 laps is what Max Verstappen took the hard compound tyre last year around on the same type of compound this year. There's no softer compound that we're using. We're not a step softer than we were last year. So yeah, Albon will be expecting to take those to the end of the race. We'll see if he does. We'll see if he makes up any positions with this potential undercut. But yeah, should have no issues taking those to the end. Of course, if there is a safety car. Nico Hulkenberg asking some awareness when we're racing would be good. Don't know if I think he's talking to his team rather than Lewis Hamilton per se. But of course, Hulkenberg in the thick of it there. Hamilton leading Hulkenberg, Russell, Tsunoda, Stroll and Gasly there with Alonso just biding his time on the hard compound tyre in P13. So we can see Piastri is not losing too much time to Max at the moment. Max does have a lead, of course, nearly 3 seconds as Stroll now comes into the pits. We're starting to see pit stops now. Sargent dives into the pits as well. Valtteri Bottas off the soft compound tyre, taking it only 10 laps. Hasn't really got the benefit out of that soft compound tyre. I think Valtteri Bottas, he gained a couple of positions, but not too many. As Hulkenberg has lost the DRS of Lewis Hamilton, so he will be vulnerable to the Mercedes of George Russell, who is not going well at the moment. He's on the more optimum strategy compared to his teammate who started on the hard compound. And for him to be behind his teammate at the moment and behind Nico Hulkenberg is not good for him, as Leclerc is very close to Oscar Piastri there as they head through the fake marina of turns 12, 13, then through that horrible chicane of 14, 15, and then we head through 16, which is where Leclerc spun it on the Friday practice session. But that McLaren, that Ferrari isn't as good as the McLaren and the Red Bull through that slower section. That's really where they're not able to gain on the McLaren and the Red Bull, and that's leaving them kind of vulnerable to not be able to attack the McLaren, pardon me, the McLaren, and of course attack the Red Bull as well earlier on in this race. So we'll see. Sainz is just happily playing the team role at the moment, just sitting behind Leclerc, ready to pounce if these two go side by side. I guess there's a bit of team orders at play at the moment, and Sainz is still playing ball. I guess it's a smart thing to do, because if he fights his teammate, he knows Leclerc will fight hard, and he's only going to leave himself vulnerable to Perez and Norris behind, who are fighting each other at the moment. It seems Norris has really closed up the gap to Perez. But George Russell passed Nico Hulkenberg, who is now into the pit lane. We also see Gasly in the pits as well. Alex Albon is side by side with Lance Stroll out of the last corner there, and could have the potential of going side by side with Lance Stroll and attacking down into turn 1 as Nico Hulkenberg is going to be coming out the pit. This could get very close as there's a number of cars here, 4 cars all within a car's width of each other out of turn 1, and Nico Hulkenberg gets out ahead of Gasly, with Gasly ahead of Stroll and Albon. And well, that was important for Nico Hulkenberg in particular. If he came out behind battling Stroll and Albon there, that would have been dire for the Haas team. So a good pit stop for them, but everyone coming out onto the hard compound tyre now, because this is the optimum strategy. They're going to take this tyre now to the end of the race. I'm pretty sure of it. That is how long this hard compound tyre can go for. But will it fall off? We will see. We will see. Checo almost took out the whole fit. Checo nearly took out Max Verstappen. He nearly wiped out Max Verstappen down into turn 1, starting from 4th place. Like, it was crazy, absolutely crazy how close it was. But yeah, Oscar Piastri did get ahead of Charles Leclerc. He's got good pace, Oscar. He's running the same lap times as Max Verstappen. Max is not pulling away. 2.8 seconds is nothing, and Oscar's having to be careful probably not to push too hard at this stage of the race. We'll see. Hopefully McLaren can make their strategy work, because they've been a bit poor when it comes to their strategy decisions in this season thus far. But Oscar doing a great job with the McLaren, but doesn't have the upgrades attached to it. That is on Lando Norris's car, who is well within the DRS of Perez at the moment. Half a second back. He's going to have DRS open here. We could see an overtake by Norris, or an attempt down into turn 11. Let's see what Norris does. He's got DRS open now. He's half a second behind Sergio Perez. You can see him gaining. That interval is just coming down. But does Norris wait as they head down into turn 11? He does. Norris not going for the move just yet. Doesn't want to lose too much time, it seems, from fighting Sergio Perez, as they are gaining on on the pack ahead of them. So we'll see if Lando has a clear-cut opportunity down into turn 17. We know that Red Bull is quick in a straight line, but Lando has been quick here this weekend thus far. Turn 11 incident involving Albon and Stroll has been noted. So Albon and Stroll getting very punchy. I'd like to see exactly what that incident was down on the replay. But Sainz reporting, are we going to try something in front? And Ferrari responding, we're looking into it, guys. We're looking into it. So Lewis Hamilton is currently in P17 ahead of his teammate who is on the medium compound. Hamilton is on the hard compound. So he is most likely to go around lap 40, lap 45 on this hard compound tyre. If everyone pits and he's still out there and a safety car comes out, that could leave him in a very nice position out front. But we know that Mercedes doesn't really have the outright pace of those ahead. But they're going quite nicely at the moment. 33.6 from Hamilton on the hards. Russell a 33.5. Lots of track limits at the moment. Albon's got 2, Zhou's got 2, Alonso's got 1, Magnussen and Tsunoda also have 1 as well. And there's been a few incidents noted by the stewards. But Norris is just sitting pretty behind Perez at the moment. I will not have a drink. I will have a drink. Need to keep this lubricated. But the Ferrari pit wall are out. The Ferrari pit wall came out and Charles Leclerc went straight on. So was that a bluff? Was that a bluff? Technically, they're not allowed to do that anymore, but was it a bluff? Did Charles Leclerc just decide not to go? As Oscar Piastri, now getting a move on, is just done the fastest first sector of anyone. So maybe we're starting to see that pit window open for these front runners, guys. As Max Verstappen did pull out another couple of attempts there that lap around. But we know how good the Red Bull is on the tyres. But is a Ferrari going to come into the pit lane here as Verstappen? Oh my God, yeah, we're starting to see fastest laps here. Drivers are pushing. That was Verstappen, then Piastri's, then Leclerc's, instantly there, quickly followed by one another. These drivers are pushing, and it indicates to us that Max doesn't have that overall pace advantage that we've seen at previous circuits this evening. And it could be interesting this race. 42 laps remaining. Piastri and Leclerc still pushing. Sainz not responding to that with a 33.1 last time around, but that was a great lap time. Of course, DRS assisted by Leclerc. But the fact Piastri did take that fastest lap away from Verstappen shows that McLaren does have pace. I sound like a professional. Thanks, Tan. Thanks. Unfiltered opinions here as well. Unfiltered opinions. I do try my best. So Norris is sitting pretty. He's not pushing on Perez here. He's playing the long game. Hamilton going quite nicely. He's pulling out a gap on his teammate in 8th position there, which is important for Hamilton because we know that Mercedes are pretty much going to prioritise Russell if Russell gets onto the back of Hamilton. They are on varying strategies. So if Russell does start to push and close that gap, Hamilton will have to let Russell pass. But we're seeing a bit of field spread here as we've seen half of the field pit already. Well, not even half the field. I thought it was more than that. We've only seen 6 cars pit of Hülkenberg, Gasly, Stroll, Albon, Sargent and Bottas at the moment. But is anyone going to come into the pit lane here? Piastri and Leclerc, do they stay out? Does Sainz stay out? Yes, they do. They stay out even more. But you see there, once again, look at that last lap from Verstappen and Perez and Piastri. Both 32.7s. Piastri is matching Max Verstappen's lap times. Charles Leclerc, a little bit slower last time around than Piastri. Of course, he is in the toe, the dirty air, and with DRS, sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to stay close and get the optimum traction out of that car who's punching the hole ahead of you. But Piastri has got pace at the moment. He's got pace. This is. I didn't expect this. Especially with Piastri being the McLaren without the upgrades this weekend. If it wasn't for DRS, Charles Leclerc wouldn't be able to stay with Piastri. I think Carlos Sainz's pace of 33.2s is their pace without DRS in clean air. If Leclerc loses the DRS of Piastri, I think he's gone. I don't think he'll be able to stay with him. It's the only thing that is keeping him close at the moment, as Norris is just using Perez to drag him along and slowly chip away at that interval of Carlos Sainz ahead of him. But it's panning out to be an intriguing race with the top 6 here, guys. Any one of these positions could chop and change between now and the end of the race. It's going to be interesting. Going to be interesting. Fastest lap's coming in, and Max almost has a pit stop gap to Lewis. Yes, yeah, that might be what they're pushing for. Has he got a pit stop gap to Lewis? 20 seconds, yeah. Yeah, that might be obviously what they're pushing for at the moment. You can see there Verstappen a 32.9 last time around, 39.2. As Perez is the first of those top 6 drivers to come into the pit lane. He is the first of those to come into the pit, so we'll see where he comes out. Is he going to come out? Is there a gap there for him to come out into? Magnussen and Ricciardo, is that where they've seen it? Of course, Guan Yu Zhou still yet to pit. We've got Magnussen still yet to pit, and Daniel Ricciardo also, who are on the hard compound tyre. Where is Perez going to come out? Oh no, he's going to come out ahead of Alonso. He comes out ahead of Alonso, so not a tight gap, but a gap nonetheless for Perez, as he's going to come out behind Ocon, who is on a set of mediums, and Tsunoda and Russell still need to pit, of course. So, yeah. But Leclerc staying close with Piastri. So, last time around, before I saw Perez come into the pits, was Piastri was only like less than a tenth behind Verstappen there. It was close. So, yeah, still running similar lap times to the Red Bull. You can see the intervals there are almost like for like, but Verstappen just gaining a little bit more in that middle sector when you come out of the marina, because that's where they have, of course, the low traction, the rear traction that is required in these cars, and the Red Bull just seems to have the advantage over the Ferrari and the McLaren at the moment. But does anyone respond to Perez coming into the pit lane? Will the McLarens come in? I think Piastri needs to stay out there. He's definitely got the pace. So none of the Ferraris come in. How about Norris? Does Norris respond to Perez, or are they going to keep him out there? No, they all stay out there. Red Bull coming in early, you could argue, with Perez, with that hard compound tyre. Of course, the longer these drivers stay out there, the younger and fresher those hard compound tyres will be that they put on to the end of the race. As Hamilton sets his fastest lap of the race thus far, those hard compound tyres starting to come alive, maybe a 33.6, good for him, as Perez on fresh rubber is set the fastest last sector there, so we'll see how quick he can go on a fresh set of hards, but we can see him all over the back of Esteban Ocon. It's only a matter of time as Norris goes fastest in the first sector with no DRS assistance whatsoever. So Lando Norris starting maybe to look at closing the gap to Carlos Sainz ahead of him. Let's see what that McLaren can do in clean air in Norris's hands. Do I think Ferrari could potentially dummy McLaren into stopping? I think that's what they're potentially trying to do. You can see that Leclerc has just not got the pace on Piastri to overtake him. I don't think they've got the pace outright on the McLarens. We'll see how Sainz is able to defend from Norris if Norris is able to catch. But Norris is going to set the fastest lap of the race here with no DRS assistance, which is currently held by Charles Leclerc. So let's see. Just keep an eye. Anyone does come into the pits. Does anyone react? Verstappen? No, still going. He's just edging out that lead at the moment as Leclerc comes into the pit. So Leclerc is going to look at an undercut on the McLaren of Oscar Piastri. We'll see if the McLarens of Piastri react. But do the McLarens think they can potentially win this race against Max Verstappen, or are they going to cover off that P2 of... or are they going to cover off against Carlos Sainz? They said that while Sainz is the car ahead, they're going to possibly pit to cover off Sergio Perez, the Lando team. Lando engineer just replied, but Leclerc comes out in between the two Mercedes there. I'm not sure if that was ideal or what they wanted, as Norris did set the fastest lap of the race last time around of 32.4. Sainz now goes purple in the first sector, so these guys are trading fastest laps at the moment. You can see Verstappen is not the fastest man out on track at the moment, and that's the first time I think I've said that in 3 years. But Lando is closing the gap on Carlos Sainz, but Carlos Sainz potentially responding to that previous fastest lap from Lando Norris. Maybe he's going to come in and pit now, but Leclerc is going to have to overtake Lewis Hamilton out on track, because Lewis is on a set of hard compounds and will be going probably for about another 25 laps or so. So we'll see how hard Hamilton fights from Charles Leclerc, or whether if he just accepts that it's not his race and he wants to lose as little time as possible. We'll see. We'll see. Did Logan spin yet? No. Right, so anyone going to come into the pits? Does Carlos Sainz come into the pits? No, as Sainz doesn't take the fastest lap. Lando Norris doesn't EVA? No, not updated his lap time yet. But was that? Hang on, was that a fastest lap for him then? That was a fastest lap from Lando last time around. So he's just set 2 fastest laps in a row and is closing down that gap on Carlos Sainz. A 32.4 from him. He's currently faster than Max Verstappen. So, Oscar Piastri is about a 10th slower a lap at the moment from Verstappen. And all of that time is pretty much being gained by Verstappen in this slow sector here through turn 11 all the way through turn 16. But Norris is on fire at the moment. He's turned on the nitrous. He has set another purple first sector, a 31.0, and he is looking to close that gap on Sainz. Now he is in clean air. He's been released, Lando. This is the Lando we should have seen in the sprint race, but of course it was ended very prematurely as Leclerc goes for a move on Lewis Hamilton down into turn 11, and there's been reported the track surface is slippery in sector 15 and 16, so through turns 15 and 16 something has got onto the track, or for some reason there's a slippery track surface there. I'm not entirely sure why, but Leclerc makes quick work of the Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton and is on that fresh set of hard compound tyres. Is straight past Lewis and is now looking to chase down Lando Norris. But Lando, does he set another fastest lap here? He does, a 32.3. So Lando has just set 3 fastest laps in a row. He is charging at the moment. That gap to Sainz under 4 seconds now. Just absolutely loving it out there. As Leclerc responds with the fastest lap of the race on a set of brand new hard compound tyres. A good lap from him. Of course, a bit DRS assisted with Lewis Hamilton, but he made very short work of Lewis Hamilton as I'm watching it on TV. Max Verstappen did have a lap time deleted last time around, so I think Max might have gone wide or had to take avoiding action through the chicane potentially, and that is why his lap time has been deleted. It says at turn 15, yes, so Max Verstappen either took too much curb or had to take avoiding action at the chicane, which is why he got his lap time deleted. So even Max here under a little bit of pressure, more so than he has been before, potentially a couple of mistakes creeping in. Max Verstappen saying that he hit the cone at turn 15, which is the chicane. So he's asking him to check the front wing. So I'm sure we'll get a replay of that very shortly. So Max Verstappen has made contact with the cone that you saw Alex Albon take avoiding action of in his qualifying session of the sprint race. So just having a look at it. Oh, he hit it straight on. Oh my God, he hit it straight on. He couldn't avoid it, and he's literally T-boned. Has he done any damage? I'm not sure if he's done. If he might have got away without damage of that cone. There was definitely pieces flying off, but I couldn't tell if that was carbon fibre or if that was his. I couldn't tell if that was carbon fibre or if it was just the cone itself. But the cone currently is in the middle of the circuit. It is right where it's just off the racing line of the exit of turn. Oh, there's a VSC deployed. VSC deployed, and that is the right decision because that cone needs to be removed, guys. It's right here, just on the exit of turn 16. And the drivers can just about miss it, but it's too close. So who's going to benefit here from this free pit stop? Alonso is definitely going to be a big gainer here by pitting off the hard compound tyre. It might be a little bit too soon, though, but those who are pitting off the mediums, like Ocon, is massively going to gain here. Alonso, maybe not so much. Is he going to be able to take this medium to the end of the race as the VSC is ending now? So, Ocon and Alonso just got the benefit there, and Magnussen as well, of the VSC pit stop as a very quick VSC as it's now been removed from the racing line. But Max Verstappen, let's see, is Piastri, has that lap time, has he gained any time there in the VSC? Of course, there's a delta that they have to hit. If they're deemed to have gained too much time out on circuit, they will have to give that back up. I'm not sure if Max has got any damage to his front wing. If it is, it might be internal. It did kind of go underneath the car and back out through the rear wing. But yeah, very, very lucky there, Max, because he hit it straight on. Is Red Bull having problems today, or Ferrari, McLaren closer to RB performance? I think it's closer. They're closer to Verstappen's performance. As Max is now pitting. Max is now in the pits ahead of Piastri, Sainz, and Norris. So let's see if anyone responds to that. Will Piastri, Sainz, and Norris extend these pit stops at the moment? It did seem like that they had good pace, but Max, a quick pit stop for the Red Bulls, as they normally do, comes out ahead of Charles Leclerc. Maybe that's who they were looking at. They saw Charles Leclerc closing that gap, and they saw an opportunity to get out ahead of Charles, and he is now onto a fresh set of hard compound tyres. But Piastri, Sainz, and Norris are staying out there. Now, will they come in and pit? Because Norris, a 38.8 from him. Of course, Max is going to be quick on the hard compound tyre now. But how quick will he be? They've obviously not replaced the front wing because there's not sufficient damage for that front wing to be replaced. But has he got any damage from it? Will it affect his performance at all? But expect to see some quick lap times from Max Verstappen here now on the hard compound tyre. He could potentially... Will he have enough to catch up to Norris, Sainz and Piastri? Maybe. I'm interested to see if those front three at the moment will respond to Max Verstappen. Let's see what is going through the Ferrari strategy guys' heads, strategist heads, and McLaren's as well. They've got a potential here for a good result. Whew. Right. Guys, if you haven't hit the subscribe button already, please do. 4,000 of you here in the stream. Thank you very much. If you could hit the like button, get this stream to over 1,000 likes. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. Hit the like button, guys. And can we get this stream to... Can we get this channel to 21,000 subs today? I need only 60 more. That little number in the top right-hand corner of your screen is a live sub counter. Come on, let's see that jump straight up to 21,000. You can do it. You can do it. We'll be back here again in the coming months, of course, for the rest of the F1 season, providing you great commentary and, yeah, my opinions, whether you agree with them or not. They're unfiltered. And, yeah, you definitely won't get that out on Sky. That's for sure. But, yeah, no, thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Over 4,000 of you. And, yeah, we've got Imola in a couple of weeks' time as Lando sets the fastest lap of the race. So the top three, neither of those responding to Max Verstappen's lap at the moment. Responding to Max Verstappen's pit stop there. Norris just setting fastest lap after fastest lap. We'll see what Verstappen's lap time is when he comes across the start-finish line on this first timed full-time lap on this brand new set of hards. But Norris is going very nicely on those set of mediums at the moment. Hamilton up into P6. Russell has pitted now as well. He's on the hard compound tyres and has come out just ahead of Hulkenberg. So that was a good pit stop by the Mercedes drivers there. Alonso attacking Hulkenberg. This could end very, very badly, couldn't it? If these two go side by side, we know that they get. We know that they don't give no quarter. As Alonso does get past Hulkenberg down into turn 11, but has Hulkenberg been able to come back at Alonso there? No, he hasn't. He has to concede, and Alonso gets ahead of Hulkenberg and will have his sights set on the rear wing of that Mercedes car of Russell. Alonso on the medium compound tyre, and I'll tell you what, the way that it's going out up front at the moment, I think this medium compound tyre could go very long in this race. Let's see. Verstappen set last time around, guys, a 32.2 on the hard compound tyre, and Norris set a 32.1. Okay, interesting. 21k. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much. Come on, let's get it to 21. Let's get it to 22. There is 90% of you in here, as it says, who don't subscribe to the channel when you watch these watch-alongs. So, yeah, if you can keep hitting that subscribe button and get us closer to 20. Let's go little by little. 21.5. Let's go 21.5. You can do it, guys. You can do it. But Lando is on fire at the moment. Hit the like button for Lando. Hit the subscribe button for Lando because he is 1.9 seconds behind Sainz at the moment. He's 3 tenths faster than his teammate and Carlos Sainz up in P1 and 2. Could this early stage of this race where Norris just waited behind Sergio Perez benefited him massively, so he has more tyres left than those ahead of him? We'll see. I'm intrigued to see what Max's lap time is this time around, though, again, because it takes a few laps for those hard compound tyres to get up to temperature. Last time around, I'm surprised he didn't set a fastest first any sector at all as he's about to come across the start-finish line. How is his time compared to those? It's a 32.4 for Max in clean air, whereas Norris did a 32.1. Norris on 26 old lap medium compound tyres is quicker than that of Max Verstappen on a set of brand new hards. The only problem is that Lando could potentially has to go onto the hard compound tyre as well at the end of this race, or he may go onto the softs. We'll see. But at the moment, Lando is by far the quickest driver out on circuit as Hamilton comes into the pit lane. Where is he going to come out? Is he going to stay out ahead of his teammate, George Russell, who is coming out now round through turn 1? And I think Hamilton has been able to maintain the position ahead of Russell and actually gets ahead of Daniel Ricciardo there, who is still yet to pit in this race. He is on 26 lap old hard tyres up in P10. Maybe Ricciardo just waiting, hopefully goal hanging, as well as Guan Yu Zhou there for a safety car, as well as his teammate Tsunoda, who's doing well up in 7th. Ricciardo does have to pit still yet, guys. So at the moment, that is a bit of a false position for him. It won't be if there's a safety car, but it's good driving for him nonetheless. Up 10 positions, and Zhou up 11 as well. But once they pit, if there's no safety car, that will drop further down. But Piastri, let's see. So Leclerc sets the fastest lap there of a 30. Sets a 30.8 in the first sector. That is purple. As we see Piastri and Carlos Sainz come into the pit lane. But Norris once again sets a 32.1. That's about the 5th lap in a row that he has set a 32.1. Max Verstappen only sets a 32.5. So Max is currently losing time to Lando Norris. If you are the McLaren team, you extend this stint that Norris is on at the moment. He has plenty of tyre left, it seems, compared to those around them. Him clearly saving those tyres at the early stages of this race, not attacking Sergio Perez, is benefiting him massively. And we are seeing the pace of Norris that we saw in the early qualifying stages of the sprint shootout. Come on, Lando. This would be unbelievable. Now, of course, he still has to make a pit stop, and he will have to get some moves done out on track, and it will have to be on the hard compound tyre. Keep an eye out on Piastri's times, guys, because that'll be a good comparison of how quickly the McLaren can potentially switch these hard compound tyres on. There's a double yellow. There's been contact between Logan Sargent and Kevin Magnussen. This could massively benefit Lando Norris. If there is a safety car, which I assume there will be at turn 3, this needs to come out now. Bring out the safety car before Norris goes past the pit lane. Bring it out. Bring it out now. Do it. Do it. I am willing it. Do it. Yes. No. He's gone past the pit box. He's gone past the pit box. They brought it out. Are you kidding? Are you actually kidding? I mean, to be fair, I think this safety car might be out for quite a while, because where they've just crashed, I'm just looking at it now on a TV replay. I'm pretty sure that is like concrete there. There's no room for error whatsoever. But Magnussen is in the wall. He's able to get the car going again, but his front wing is hanging off. But Logan Sargent's rear wing is bent and off, and this could be Logan Sargent's goodbye to Formula One. He is highly rumoured, and the McLaren team were out in the pit lane waiting for Lando Norris. He was out in the pit lane. His team were waiting for the safety car, waiting for the pit stop, and they called it a couple of seconds too late. But he will still get a cheap pit stop, and he will filter in between Verstappen, Leclerc, Piastri and Sainz. I imagine he'll come out behind Carlos Sainz, but we'll see. We will see how much time he's been able to gain while out on circuit. Of course, he was very close behind Carlos Sainz before he made that pit stop. But yeah, a real shame there. He would have definitely at least come out, I think, behind Charles Leclerc. But I'm still waiting to see the replay of what happened between Sargent and Magnussen. Whose fault was it? But that's definitely... Magnussen will be able to get going again, as there is his front wing only needs changing. But Sargent's race is over and done with, guys. Who had a bet on Sargent not making it to the end of this race? I know a few of you did. But I'm still waiting to see if it's him, if it's Sargent's fault or not. Let's see. Right, here we go. Where is Norris going to come out? Right. Right, I'm just watching this incident. We'll keep an eye out on Norris. Just watching back this incident of Kevin Magnussen on Logan Sargent. So Magnussen's going around the outside of turn 1. He's got DRS open. They slightly touched through turn 1. Magnussen goes for the cutback. Goes round the outside of turn 3. Oh, I need to see it from an overhead shot. It looks like Magnussen didn't back out, but it also looks like that Logan Sargent didn't leave him enough room. And Magnussen's right rear touched Logan Sargent's left rear. And I think that's Sargent's fault. I don't think he left. He hasn't left. Sargent's turned into the apex like Magnussen's not there. So what happens here with Norris? He's come out ahead of the safety car. What's going to happen here? I generally don't know. I'm genuinely a bit befuddled. Right, hang on. I'm listening to Sky now and seeing what they're going to say about this. Hang on. Hang on. So they've got... Okay. So Norris maintains first position. Norris maintains first position, guys. Sorry, I went quiet. I was listening to see exactly what happens. So the safety car has had to release the pack to catch Lando Norris, and then Norris will catch the safety car. So Norris is now P1. Come on, Lando. Come on. I said you bottled it. I did a whole video that you bottled it on Friday, which you did. You did bottle sprint shootout, but you're not bottling it right now. Lando has been on fire. Now, what's going to be key on this safety car restart is the tyre warm-up. We've seen it in qualifying. Warming up those tyres is going to be essential. Now, what the benefit Lando has is that he has 5-lap younger tyres than Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc. Are we going to see, for the first time ever, Lando Norris and Max Verstappen truly go wheel-to-wheel? They've half-heartedly gone wheel-to-wheel, but Lando has never had the car to fight Max. Today, he does. Today, he does. Sargent and Magnussen causing a collision is being investigated. To me, that looks like it's Sargent's fault. He should have left a room there for Magnussen. Magnussen was always alongside him, and he just turned in like he wasn't there. So Logan Sargent's F1 career potentially coming to a sad end in a crash. But it's clear in Sector 3, the car has been removed. So I assume the safety car will pick Lando up. They'll do one lap, and then it will be go, go, go with 26 laps remaining by the time they come across the start-finish line and restart the race. But Magnussen is more than alongside Logan Sargent there. But how harsh do you treat Logan Sargent? The thing is, these cars are so much larger now. The wing mirrors definitely aren't big enough. And the peripheral vision in these cars, we're seeing more and more incidents like this where drivers just aren't seeing them in their blind spots and are turning into corners and not leaving enough room as potentially that they should do. But yeah, it's the same. Oh, okay. They've deemed Magnussen a 10-second time penalty for that. I'm not sure I agree with that. Unless they're going by the new racing rules. You know what it is, like the new racing rules. They're deeming where the apex is. But I'm pretty sure Magnussen... I'm not sure I agree with that. I need to see more shots then. But Ozzy, he's alongside him. Do you know what I think it is? I think it's this racing rule that I bloody hate, where they're going to say that technically that's Logan Sargent's corner, and he had the right to drive into that space and run Magnussen out of room. But I don't agree with that. I don't agree that he was alongside he was alongside going through turn 2 on a move on the outside, and Logan just, yeah, I'm not sure I agree with that. I think see, Martin Brundle's saying it's silly. I don't think that was silly at all. He had the move there. He's entitled to go for that room, and he had the grip. And Logan Sargent, I don't know. I mean, I think that's not. But anyway, let's get to the race at hand, because if you're just joining us, guys, welcome. 5,500 of you in here. How have we only got 500 likes in this stream? Before the race gets back underway, let's hit that like button and get this to over 1,000 likes, guys. You can do it. And even more importantly, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're a returning viewer, thank you very much. If you haven't subscribed yet, what are you doing? If you are new here, welcome. Still, hit that subscribe button. Let's get this stream, let's get this to 22,000. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. There's definitely 1,000 of you in here who haven't, or 900 of you who haven't hit the like subscribe button. I know you haven't. I know you haven't. But if you're just joining us, yes, Lando Norris, who has been very patient in the early stages of this race, has just been the quickest man on circuit by far. The safety car has come out, and Lando Norris is now your leader. So we are about to get underway in this race. Lando Norris from Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, Oscar Piastri, Carlos Sainz, Perez, Tsunoda, Hamilton, Russell, Ocon, Alonso, Gasly, Albon, Joe, Ricciardo, Hulkenberg, Stroll, Bottas, Magnussen, and Sargent's out. So let's see what happens here as Norris, it seems like Verstappen's ahead of Norris there, but Norris, here we go, is gone. He's gone. Has he fired up his tyres enough here? It's going to be important as they head down into turn 1. They're very close. Verstappen, Norris, Leclerc, Piastri as they head down into turn 1. For the first time, we're probably going to see Norris fighting for the win with Max Verstappen in a car that is equal on pace, it seems, as Norris holds on to the position there on the safety car restart and is already half a second ahead of Verstappen, but we know Verstappen will be chomping at the bit to fight his best friend out up front. He hasn't had a fight for a number of races, and he wants to maintain that 100% record that he has in the US for the last 3 years. But Verstappen also has to be wary of a charging Leclerc as well, who is also right behind him, who's closer than Verstappen. If Verstappen doesn't get a great exit out of turn 8, no DRS until the next lap around, as this has helped Norris. If Leclerc can attack Verstappen here, this will give a bit of breathing space to Norris, but in the tow, it does seem that Verstappen's been able to gain a bit of position on Norris. But let's see how they get through this slow section. The Ferraris haven't quite had the pace here to Norris and Verstappen, as Verstappen has just lost the DRS of Norris there. Of course, one more lap until it is activated, but that is important. If Norris can maintain that 1 second gap over Verstappen here, oh, he's got a great exit, but the Red Bull will be gaining a tow in the McLaren as they head down into turn 17. But Verstappen, come on Leclerc, you need to stay within that 1 second of Verstappen to at least make him look in his rearview mirrors rather than just look straight ahead. But this has been a great first lap of the restart of this race for Lando Norris. I thought with one safety car, guys, it was going to be a boring race, but we actually have a genuine true race here as Norris has set the fastest lap of the race, a 31.1 compared to Verstappen, who did a 32.2. But what a great first lap this is for Lando Norris, who's gaining and increasing that gap on Verstappen. Importantly, he's keeping it over a second ahead of Verstappen. It does seem that we saw when Verstappen put those hard compound tyres on earlier on, he just couldn't quite fire them up and wasn't a happy bunny on them compared to on the medium compound tyre. But Norris, with those new upgrades that the McLaren has, is in prime position here with 24 laps remaining to win his first ever race in F1, guys, as Sainz has got DRS open on Piastri. Is he going to have a move as they head down into turn 11? Likewise, Lewis Hamilton as well, DRS open on the medium compound tyre down into turn 11. Is he going to have a move on that AlphaTauri? Oh, that's what I'm calling them. On Yuki Tsunoda, no, but Sainz does get past briefly Oscar Piastri, but he maintains the position. So Tsunoda regains the position on Oh no, Hamilton does get that position back on Yuki Tsunoda. They went side by side there through the Marina, and Sergio Perez. Sainz needs to be wary of the Red Bull behind him as well. He's been very quiet this race, Sergio Perez, other than nearly wiping out his own teammate down into the first corner and being investigated for a false start, which wasn't deemed to be the case. But Verstappen now 1.5 seconds behind Lando Norris. Lando Norris as well, 6 laps younger tyres compared to Verstappen, is ahead and increasing that gap on Verstappen. 4 tenths faster last time around. Leclerc 2 tenths faster than Verstappen as well. And Verstappen, I don't think, has the pace of the McLaren and the Ferrari here. I think Verstappen could be having a go at Leclerc. Let's see. But Piastri and Sainz, well, Piastri had to take avoiding action of Carlos Sainz. Piastri maintained the positions, which is why it is being investigated. But I think Piastri will be able to hold that position. But Verstappen, 1.5 seconds back from Lando Norris. Now Norris is just quicker in every single sector thus far, even if it's just by a couple of hundredths than that of Max Verstappen. Leclerc staying within that DRS like he did earlier on in the early stages of this race. Let's see if he's... Come on, Leclerc, put some pressure on Max, put some pressure. Come on, you can do it. Lando, 1.5 seconds ahead here. Let's see as they go through turn 14, 15. We've seen Max Verstappen potentially, actually, maybe this is a performance issue for Max Verstappen. He hit the cone through turns 14 and 15 earlier on in the chicane. Potentially, with them not changing their front wing, this is a bit of a performance hit on the Red Bull. But we'll take it. We'll take it. At the end of the day, it was Max's mistake for that, for wiping out that cone. But we'll see. Oh, actually... We'll see. Did Piastri run Sainz wide? I'm not sure. But as we head into 22 laps remaining, Verstappen 1.5 seconds behind Norris. Still slightly slower than that of Lando Norris. Norris much quicker. I would say much quicker. He is just quicker at the moment than the Red Bull. So yes, good going from him, as it seems to be. Oh, hang on a second. I think Verstappen just maybe had a little lock up there down into turn 1, as that gap's just gone out to 1.7 seconds, as Norris is just charging away here. Come on, Lando. Come on, Lando. Give us some Landos in the chat, guys. 6,000 of you in here. Welcome, welcome. Hit the like button if you can. Let's get this to stream to over 1,000 likes. Over 750 likes thus far. Do it for Lando. Thumbs up for Lando. Come on. Because this could be the first race. This could be the first race in 3 years in America that we are seeing a non-Max Verstappen winner. And it could be the first race this year for a long time that we are seeing someone beat the Red Bull on performance, guys. Let's go, Lando. Let's go. 2 seconds. He's pushed that gap out to nearly 2 seconds, Lando. He's on fire. What a drive. What a drive this is. He started in 5th position. He is now in P1. On merit, guys. Of course, the safety car has assisted a bit, but he was flying on those medium compound tyres earlier compared to Max on the hard. So Max, Leclerc's just lost the DRS to Max Verstappen there, as Piastri is holding up Carlos Sainz at the moment, doing a good job from him. No further investigation for Piastri and Sainz, forcing another driver off the track. But Hamilton going quite nicely on the medium compounds as well for the Mercedes driver. He is slightly catching Perez just outside of the DRS at the moment. So Hamilton having a quiet race, but a good race thus far. So 31-1 for Norris last time around, a 31-4 for Verstappen, just ever increasing that gap to the Red Bull. I can't believe what I'm seeing. I can't believe it, guys. I cannot believe it. Wow. Just unbelievable driving from Norris thus far for you papaya fans out there, that's for sure. Lando in P1, Verstappen P2, Leclerc P3. He is 1.4 seconds back from Verstappen at the moment. Still a good performance from the Ferraris, though, who have no upgrades here this weekend. They expect a much more better performance from the Ferraris in a couple of weeks' time at Imola, where they're expected to bring a very large upgrade package. Piastri in 4th, having to defend from Carlos Sainz, who's in 5th position. Perez in 6th on the mediums. Hamilton is closing on Perez, by the way, guys. The Mercedes seem to have come a bit of alive in the second half of this race, as he is in the DRS of the Red Bull at the moment, who is on the medium compound tyre. And I'll tell you what, the way that they're going, Hamilton, he could potentially catch. If he makes quick work of Perez, he could get involved with this fight of Sainz and Piastri, as Norris sets another fastest lap. 3 tenths faster of Verstappen. 2.2 seconds is the gap now to Norris and Verstappen. He's just increasing that gap. He's got the tyre advantage. 6 laps. 6-lap younger hard compound tyres, but he's had the pace over Verstappen today. The Red Bull not quite at it, even before Verstappen hit his front wing on that cone. I'm not sure if there is any damage to that car that's been received, but even so, before Max hit that cone, Norris was absolutely flying. We're seeing the Norris that we should have seen in the sprint race from the get-go before that massive error that he made in the sprint quali shootout. But yes, Norris in P1, Verstappen P2. We've had a look at the top of this starting grid. We see Tsunoda having a good recovery after a poor sprint race in P8 at the moment. A very good performance from him thus far. He is quicker at the moment than George Russell in P9. So Tsunoda doing very well in 8th position. Should be nice to see him up there. We've got Ocon in P10, taking that last points position at the moment, but he is being chased very quickly by Fernando Alonso, who is on the medium compound tyre. So Alonso could be catching and overtaking that Ocon, which would be a good recovery drive for Alonso, who is well ahead of his teammate Lance Stroll in 7th. What's happened to Lance Stroll? Does anyone know what happened to Lance Stroll? I don't think anyone really cares, but what did happen to Lance Stroll? He's down in 17th place, 6 positions down. I'm not really sure what happened to him. But yeah, Danny Ricciardo up 4 positions. Hulkenberg is a massive loser here thus far with that safety car, I think, down in 15th position. Did he come off of those tyres earlier? So it was mediums, hards, yeah, so he pitted under the safety car, but I don't think it's really I'm not sure it's really working for him. 4 tenths faster. 4 tenths faster last time around, guys, for Lando and Verstappen. I'll keep those lap updates coming for you as Leclerc. There is a bit of a gap forming now between, of course, Lando, Verstappen and Leclerc. Hamilton up behind the Red Bull. Of course, catching is one thing, overtaking is another. Carlos Sainz telling his engineer, leave me alone, as they tell him there's 20 laps remaining. Lots of papaya hearts in the chat, guys. Totally warranted at the moment. This is a great performance from Lando and even Oscar Piastri as well, who did chase down Max Verstappen in the early stages of this race and gain 3 positions. So this race could be not over for the McLarens yet, or for Oscar Piastri, who doesn't have upgrades here this weekend, bearing in mind. So Guan Yu Zhou just lost a position, just went side by side with Alex Albon and exchanged positions there through turns 11 and the fake Marina. Carlos Sainz is gaining on Oscar Piastri there, as you can see, down into turn 17. Verstappen reporting he can't get the car to turn. It's a disaster. So the way it's going at the moment, but as Sainz gets past Oscar Piastri down into turn 17, but Piastri will have DRS to attack Carlos Sainz again down into turn 1. There's been no love lost between these two, as they have already gone side by side, and Piastri regains the position on Carlos Sainz down into turn 2, but Sainz regains it back on Piastri as they go side by side through turn 1, and all this is done is allow Sergio Perez and Lewis Hamilton to get on the back of the McLaren and get involved in this fight for P4. But great racing there for the McLaren of Carlos Sainz. It releases him to chase down his teammate, but Piastri now has to look in his mirrors once again, as he's very quickly going to be on the attack, on the defence from Sergio Perez, who is all over the back of him and Lewis Hamilton. Let's stay with these guys as they head all the way down to turn 11. DRS will be open for Sergio Perez and Lewis Hamilton here, and is Hamilton going to be able to have another through goes Hamilton moment as Perez easily overtakes Piastri down into turn 11. Hamilton takes advantage of the Piastri letting Perez through, and he's side by side with Perez, and Piastri in the space of half a lap has lost 3 positions. Does Piastri have an issue, or has he just not got the grip in his tyres there and is sitting duck with no DRS activated? But it's all gone from bad to worse for Piastri, just as I was praising him. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Commentator's curse. Piastri has lost a number of 3 positions there in a space of 1 lap. Hamilton really did go through Piastri. Let's just have a look at that back on the replay, as Lando is 3 seconds ahead of Max Verstappen now. Come on, Lando. Just watching this as they head down into turn 11 on the TV coverage. Piastri was just a sitting duck. Perez full. Oh, wow. Lewis just swooped round the outside of Oscar Piastri. A very, very good advantageous move there from Lewis as Piastri is now into the pits. Has he got an issue? Has Piastri got an issue? Is he having to retire this car? No, he's back out. He's back out. What happened for Oscar Piastri? Ah, he's got front wing damage. Piastri has got front wing damage. He's had to pit for a new front wing, which is unfortunate. Oh, man. What a shame for Oscar. What a shame for Oscar. That's a real shame. He didn't deserve that. He's been performing. He's had such a great race. And that's a real shame. I did think he was very, very slow down the start, down that back straight. But yeah, he's had to come into the pits and take a new front wing. And unfortunately, that is Oscar's race over and done with. He's dead last now. Maybe he can chase down Magnussen and yeah, get something. But that's a real shame for Oscar Piastri. But at the front of the grid, it is very, very different ends of the spectrum because Lando Norris is leading the Miami GP. If you're just tuning in here, guys, welcome to the stream. Where have you been? Why have you not been here from the start? But we have Lando. Your eyes are not deceiving you. In P1, just increasing that gap on Max Verstappen, who is not happy in that Red Bull whatsoever. Potential damage from a mistake he made earlier by running through the chicane of turn 14 and 15, wiping the cone out. But even so, it has not been the dominant Red Bull performance that we are so used to seeing in the last couple of years, or even this year, from Max Verstappen. The Red Bull just doesn't quite seem to be at the races, and Lando was flying earlier on in the early stages of this race. And well, with a safety car brought out by Logan Sargent and Magnussen coming together at turn 3, well, Norris pitted and came out in P1 and has just maintained and ever increased that gap but he currently has. So yeah, really, really good going from him. So a little bit further down, let's have a look. And we've got Perez being chased by Hamilton. Still no respite for the Red Bull of Perez when he got past Piastri as Hamilton dispatched him in the same corner. We have Tsunoda up in P7 now after that... After Piastri's unfortunate pit stop. You can see there, fastest first sector for him down in P19, but he's in no man's land at the moment. So really good going for Tsunoda, who is holding off George Russell. He is about half a second a lap, or he seems to be just ever increasing his gap on George Russell at the moment. So great going for Yuki Tsunoda after a very poor sprint race and sprint quali for him. Russell, not so good for him. He started on the medium compound and is now in P8 after losing positions at the start of the race. Ocon and Alonso. Ooh, Alonso getting close to Ocon here. We know that there's no love lost between those two, so we'll see if anything happens with them. I really hope not. I'm kind of hoping that it's just as it is to the end of the race, because Lando will have his first race ever. I did call him, guys, if you're just tuning into the stream and you're unaware of my content, I did call him a bottle job after Friday. I did think he was a bottle job because of that Q3 performance. But wow, what a way to shut me up and shut anyone else up who thought Lando's done it again. Lando's bottled under pressure again. Well, what a way to respond if he wins this race, and I really hope he does. To be honest, it's totally within his hands. He's just increasing that gap on Max Verstappen. Nearly 4 seconds now. Nearly 4 seconds. Max complaining that the car just won't turn. I'd be interested to see if it is due to damage. But I just think that Red Bull is just not at the races. But we'll see. We'll see. Charles Leclerc in P3. If Leclerc and Sainz finish P3 and P4, that's a great weekend for the Ferraris. They just keep maximising the performance that they've got relative to the other teams. They're doing very well at the moment. As we said, a big upgrade coming from them in a couple of weeks' time at Imola. So Perez in P5 and Hamilton in P6. I'm surprised Hamilton's actually staying within the DRS of the Red Bull, which clearly shows the Red Bull is just not feeling good at Miami this weekend. They've just not really been able to dial in the setup, or the car just hasn't performed as we used to expecting to see. Of course, it's a unique circuit. It's a temporary circuit. That's why we've seen drivers like Ricciardo absolutely nail it on sprint quali. But then when it came to the qualifying session for the race yesterday, failed to warm up his tyres correctly, and he suffered because of it. But he's up in P15 at the moment, so not too bad from him. But that is really only 3 natural positions gained because of Piastri and Sargent obviously having their own issues. So, yeah, Albon holding on to Guan Yu Zhou there, and Danny Ricciardo. Lance Stroll down in 16th. Still don't know what happened to Stroll. Not that I care. Does anyone care? Anyone care? Fastest lap thus far is Piastri, as you can see there, purple last time around. 4-second gap to Norris and Verstappen. He just keeps increasing. 4 tenths or so a lap at the moment. Norris is just adding to his gap on Max Verstappen. Really, really good for Lando. Come on, mate, just keep it going. Keep it going. I don't know how Piastri's caught front wing damage. I don't know if it was because I reckon it's debris. I think he's picked up debris. There's been a bit of debris on circuit, so I reckon unfortunately he's picked up that. But come on. Come on, Lando. Come on, do it. Come on. I know people love Max, but come on. Even you would like to see Lando win. Surely. Surely. As F1 fans, you want to see Lando win. Come on. If you can hit the like button, please, guys. Come on, let's get this to over 1,000 likes. 872 likes here at the moment. Hit the like button. Come on, there's surely 200 of you haven't hit the like button, or just over 100 of you haven't hit the like button and can get this over to 1,000 likes. It'd be much appreciated. We've hit a PB again for viewership, so thank you very much. If you can hit the subscribe button as well, we'll be back here in a couple of weeks' time for Imola and, of course, the Monaco Grand Prix and every race that comes afterwards. So yeah, if you're enjoying the content, I'll be doing kind of like my own race reviews and more F1 opinionated content as well as the season goes on. There's a lot happening off track at the moment in F1, more so than we thought that was happening on track. And thankfully, the Miami GP, well, I thought it was going to be a bit of a damp squib, but it's been okay. The racing has been all right, I'd say, but it hasn't been necessary. But the fact of it, we're potentially about to have a new winner and a first-time winner in Lando Norris makes it all worthwhile. Come on, Lando. 4.5 seconds now to Verstappen in P1. We have Leclerc in P3. He's just not able to gain on Verstappen at the moment. He will take a podium, that's for sure, especially after how his weekend started with the... with how his weekend started. With the, obviously... Oh, black and white flag for Lance Stroll. And Guan Yu Zhou's also got a black and white flag as well for track limits. One more track limits and they'll be getting a 5-second time penalty. So, yeah, Lance Stroll there, who's overtaken Danny Ricciardo, is now up into P15. Very poor race from him once again. As his teammate, he started 5 positions ahead of his teammate. And, well, his teammate is now up in P10. So, yeah, I mean, I don't really know how Stroll thinks he's ever going to beat Alonso, to be perfectly honest with you. Hamilton still on the back of Perez, just not able, that draggy Mercedes, not able to get past the Red Bull, even with the DRS open. Incident involving Carlos Sainz and Piastri under investigation. I thought that was investigated quite a while ago, and it was no further investigation required. But yeah, thank you for all the subs, guys. Thank you. Over 1,000 likes. Whee! Thank you, guys. Much appreciated. Hit the subscribe button. Come on, let's get to 21,500. 21,500 subscribers. You can do it. We'll be back here, as I said, in a couple of weeks' time for Imola, which should be interesting. With supposedly this Logan Sargent's last race, we potentially could have Kimi Antonelli in there. Big upgrades coming to the Ferrari as well. Of course, the McLaren's upgrades have had the desired effect, haven't they? With Lando currently in P1, 5 seconds ahead of Verstappen. Piastri, really unfortunate of what's happened to him today. He's already caught up to the back of Kevin Magnussen. So that shows how much of a pace advantage that McLaren has over those back of the rear of those cars, or the back of the field of those cars. So Piastri, I imagine, will get those in a couple of weeks' time, and that is going to be a good pairing for the rest of the season. And Leclerc and Sainz just maximising the performance that they've got, as Ferrari have done thus far this season. But Tsunoda putting out a gap on Russell. Russell cannot cope with the pace of Tsunoda. Hamilton has just completely got the better of George here this weekend. Hamilton still not able to gain on Perez. Just waiting. Maybe he's waiting for his tyres. Are Perez and Hamilton gaining on Carlos Sainz? Let's have a look. Last time around, Sainz did a 31.3 and a 31.6 of Perez and Hamilton. No, so they're not gaining on Sainz. So I don't think Hamilton's really going for any moves at the moment. Or maybe he is, as they head very close down into turn 11. He's got very, very close there, Hamilton. Is he going to be able to stay tight through turn 13, through this horrible chicane? It doesn't look like it. He just has to back off a little bit. It must be so hard to stay close through that horrible chicane, bouncing over those curbs. And you can just see there that then just unfortunately, as he just gets a lost a downforce on the exit of turn 16, and then is not able to have the top speed to get past Perez as they head down into turn 17. But last time around, interestingly enough, Charles Leclerc 2 tenths faster, or 3 tenths faster than Max Verstappen. How about this time around? No, Max recovers and does a 31.5 and Charles does a 31.6. But Lando, another tenth added onto that gap in first place. 31.4 from him. Now a 5.1 second lead over Max Verstappen. That Red Bull does not have enough left. Only 10 laps remaining in this Miami GP race, guys. Could we be seeing Lando Norris's first ever race win in F1? It's been a long time coming. I really hope he can convert it, as Alonso and Ocon went side by side there through turns 1. Alonso on the medium compound tyre to Ocon on the hard. We know that these two have history, and well, Ocon holds on to that position for just a little bit longer. But will Alonso have the exit out of turn 8? He's all over the back of him, less than half a second as they go through turn 8 here, and it's DRS full throttle all the way down to turn 11. We know that Ocon doesn't give any quarter, especially when it comes to Alonso. Does the Aston Martin have the pace in that Alpine? He does seem to be performing really well here this weekend. As Alonso, does he get a move done? Under braking into turn 11, he does, but does Ocon come straight back at him? Is Alonso able to slow the car down? He is, and Ocon doesn't have an answer to that Aston Martin of Fernando Alonso, and he finally gets past the Alpine into turn 15 as Piastri makes quick work of Magnussen the previous lap, and now Valtteri Bottas. So Piastri, at least he's going to have a bit of fun in the latter stages of this race, overtaking the lower half of the field. It's not where he wants to be, but at least he's not just running by himself at the back. But Ocon, is he going to come back at Fernando Alonso down into turn 17? Does he have the grip on that hard compound tyre? As he goes through turn 17, he will get another bout of DRS as he heads through turn 19 down a start-finish straight. But it does seem like Fernando just has the rear grip out of the slower corners to hold off Alonso down into turn 1. Oh, Piastri and Sainz will be investigated after the race, causing a collision. So clearly there was another one that I missed, guys. But guys, thank you very much to those who are in the stream. 7,000 viewers. Round of applause to everyone in chat, because this is a community here, guys. We all love F1. I love chatting and doing these watch-alongs for you. I try and catch for the chat, but of course I'm trying to provide commentary for you in the meantime. We'll have a chance to chat more about the race after it's finished. But yeah, big thank you. Another PB. And if you can hit that subscribe button, let's get us to 22,000 subscribers. Come on. Surely there's a 700 of you, 600 of you in here who haven't hit that subscribe button yet and can get us to 22,000. You can see that number above us creep up like a slot machine. Come on, you can do it. It's a growing community here, and I thank every single one of you. Over 1,000, 1,100 likes as well. Big thank you. And yeah, these streams are only getting, these watch-alongs are only getting bigger and better as the year has gone on. So yeah, thanks everyone. But let's get back to the racing. Lando Norris, 5.6 seconds. He is your leader with 8 laps remaining. He has 6 lap younger tyres to Max Verstappen. 5.7 second lead over Red Bull. Max Verstappen, yes, your eyes are not deceiving you. If you're just joining the stream, Lando Norris, who's just gone purple in the first sector, has pace over the Red Bull of Max Verstappen. Now, Max Verstappen has had a slight incident through the chicane where he hit the cone that is positioned there to stop drivers cutting the corner. He hit the cone quite severely, wiped it clean off. Looked like he got away without damage on his front wing, but potentially there might be something wedged underneath the car, or there might be something but is unseen to the naked eye But we can see as Hamilton all over the back of Sergio Perez here. Is this the moment we're seeing Hamilton go for a move on the Red Bull? He got very, very close there. Can he stay tight through turns 14, through that chicane we were just talking about, and through turn 16? Let's see, under traction. He needs to be around 6 tenths, but he just loses that all-important couple of tenths out of turn 16. But does he have enough? It's a very long back straight here. DRS is now open, but the Mercedes doesn't have a lot of straight line speed, especially when it comes to Perez. Can he stay tight out of turn 17? Come on, Hamilton, you can do it. Out of turn 18, he will get another bit DRS down the start finish straight, but out of those rear traction corners, turn 16 and 17 and 18, he just doesn't quite have enough to stay close to the Red Bull of Sergio Perez. You can see he's got a lot of confidence under the brakes, Hamilton, and closes that gap. He's trying to force Perez potentially into a mistake. He's been all in his rear view mirrors for the last 10 laps or so. But yeah, I think it's going to have to warrant a slight mistake from Sergio Perez for Hamilton to go side by side with him. We will see. We will see. Steve, thank you for the membership, buddy. Much, much appreciated. Thank you. Welcome to the pit crew. And anyone else who wants to join this channel and this great community that we've got here, the first step is, of course, subscribing to this channel. Keep hitting that subscribe button, guys. Come on, let's get to 22,000, 21.5. Let's hit 21.5 first. And then you can join as a member for cheaper than a coffee. Cheaper than a coffee for just a couple of English pounds. Get a nice membership badge and yeah, join what is a great community here who loves F1 and loves sim racing as well. But Lando out to 6 seconds now. As we can see Piastri down there close to Ricciardo. Who else is close? Well, we can see Ocon hasn't quite left the DRS of Fernando Alonso. Just about he has, as Albon and Stroll. Albon gets past Stroll, has he? Has Albon got past Stroll? Go on, Albono. Go on, Albono. He's done it. He's got past Lance Stroll. Well done. Great drive from him at the moment. 40 laps. Alex Albon is on the hard compound tyre as well. He is on the oldest tyre by far out of anyone out there. Gasly is next, who is just a position and a couple of seconds up the road on 38 lap old hard tyres. So great drives from those two. Hamilton still stuck under the rear wing of the Red Bull, Sergio Perez. But to be fair to Hamilton, what a drive from him being in P6, considering how that Mercedes is just not really anywhere near these guys in performance. But a great drive from him thus far, absolutely wiping the floor of his teammate George Russell, which I think is kind of all that he'll be looking at this season, is ensuring that he still got it. As Albon loses the position to Lance Stroll again, there's a real battle happening there at the back. As you can see, Guan Yu Zhou has also gained a position on Albon. Don't crash, guys. Don't crash and ruin this potential win for Lando Norris. Don't do it. Please. Just play ball. Be nice and just make it to the end of the race, okay? Please. Can we all pray for that in chat, please? I don't want that. I don't want that. No one wants to see that. Lando, only 5 laps remaining when he crosses the start-finish line here, guys, as he is 6.1 seconds ahead of Verstappen. Verstappen is quicker than Charles Leclerc. The Ferraris, who have no upgrades here this weekend, just don't have an answer to Verstappen, an underperforming Red Bull. And I think that's pretty much just what it is, as Perez was strong here as well last year. Lance Stroll did go off the track there. Lance Stroll did go off the track and he didn't get given another track limits violation. Interesting. I think Lance Stroll might have got away without a penalty there. Interesting. But yes, Guan Yu Zhou catching up to the back of Lance Stroll now. He is on a soft set of soft compound tyres, so Guan Yu Zhou seems to be flying quite nicely on that soft. He is much quicker than everyone else in that pack at the moment, other than the McLaren of Oscar Piastri. But let's see, Hamilton, can he close the gap again on Sergio Perez? It seems like he's losing a bit of time there. Are those medium compound tyres of Lewis Hamilton just coming to the end of their life, as Lando's flying? He's flying, ladies and gentlemen. He is flying. A purple first sector for Lando, and not quite enough grip to get purple in the second sector, but he's loving it out there at the moment. He's finally going to get that first win. No commentators curse. I take it back. I didn't say it. He potentially could. I'm going to preface that with potentially could get that first win. I saved it. I've saved it, guys. I saved it. I saved it. I saved it. But yes, lots of Lando fans in the chats, it seems. Carlos Sainz is being investigated because of his collision with Piastri earlier on in the race. They came together a couple of times, and it's potential that... Oh, Alex Albon. Where's Alex? Oh, did Alex have a big off there? Don't you retire the car, Alex, and bring out a safety car. Don't do it. Don't. Albon is going slow. Don't do it. Don't do it, Albon. Don't do it. He's got going again. Good. He's good. 4 laps remaining. Four laps remaining, guys. 4 laps remaining. Oh, what's he done? Surely he's coming into the pit lane. Surely Albon's coming into the pit lane. I'm just looking at it on the TV coverage, and Albon had a massive lock-up. Oh, my God. He'll definitely be coming into the pit lane. He's okay. He'll massive flat spot. Wow. That was a massive flat spot for Alex Albon there. Just completely braked too late as he was going side by side with Guan Yu Zhou and or Zhou Guan Yu, and well, yeah, that was no wonder he. Oh no, sorry, it was Daniel Ricciardo actually. Daniel Ricciardo was going for a move, and Alex Albon just braked too late. A massive lock up. So yeah, very good there. So it'll be 3 laps remaining as we cross this start-finish line, as the gap to Verstappen is now 6.6 seconds as they cross the start-finish line. Lando Norris, what a drive from him today. He started 5th position, guys, and is now up in P1 on merit alone. Yes, a safety car assisted with that, but he was forming a very large gap out up front on a set of medium compound tyres, while Max was struggling after his pit stop on a set of hard compounds. And I think even without that safety car, Lando could have just continued to build that gap and eventually would have caught Max Verstappen anyway, because look at the pace that he has, the pace advantage over Verstappen, about 4 tenths per lap, as that gap is about to go out to 7 seconds with only, 3 laps remaining when he's on the, obviously, 4th to last lap at the moment. 55 out of 57. We're on the 55th lap right now, sorry. So, yeah, he's just, what a drive from him. Hamilton lost the DRS now of Sergio Perez. And Lance Stroll has had another track limits violation. He got a black and white flag previously, and that means that I think Lance Stroll will get a time penalty. Yeah, so, but 8,400 viewers in here, guys. Thank you very much. Keep hitting the like button. Subscribe, please. There's got to be 500 of you in here who haven't hit the subscribe button. You see that number at the top of your right-hand screen? Come on. Get that to 22,000. You know you can. We'll be back here in a couple of weeks' time for Imola and the rest of the season. If you're enjoying the content, I'll be doing my own race review and my opinions on what has happened throughout this race, post-race of this, if you want to stick around, and also in separate videos as well to follow throughout the week. Plenty happening off track as well. So yeah, we've got a great community going here. We've got a Discord that you can join with a link in the description below. And there's also a podcast that you can listen to, the Missed Apex F1 podcast, which I am a panelist on. I won't be on it this evening because they're actually out there live in Miami. But Lando Norris, a 30.9 from him. We're on the penultimate lap of this race. A 7.3 second lead for Norris over Max Verstappen. Yes, you are hearing that correctly, guys. Lando is leading this race 7.3 seconds ahead of Max Verstappen, with Charles Leclerc 2.5 seconds behind Verstappen, with Sainz in P4. Perez has now pulled out that gap on Hamilton, who tried to close the gap and overtake Perez, but just doesn't have enough in that Mercedes, who is in P6 there. A good performance from Hamilton nonetheless. We have Tsunoda in P7, up 3 positions. A good performance from him. Russell in 8th, and a good recovery drive from Fernando Alonso, who is trying to chase down George Russell, but is just going to run out of laps, it seems, as Lando is coming around the last corner. For the penultimate time, guys, we have one more lap. White flag. Wave the white flag, because we are on the final lap of the Miami GP, with Lando Norris only having 19 corners to navigate for his first ever win in F1. It won't be a sprint race. It will be P1. The guy who did bottle it on Friday, who should have been on pole position ahead of Max Verstappen for the sprint race, but wasn't. He should have been further up the grid for this race today, but has done absolutely unbelievable, being in P5, starting from P5, being patient, stuck behind Perez, biding his time, and then he just turned on the afterburners and he has just gone off into the distance. I think even without that safety car, he would have easily have won this race, as he has only got a few corners remaining, guys. Please hit that like button and subscribe button. See that? I want to see that number get to 22,000. You can do it. You can do it. We've got 9,000 of you nearly in this stream. Woo. 10-second time penalty for Lance Stroll, just to icing on the cake, or cherry on top of the cake for Lance Stroll getting a penalty, guys. As Lando Norris is coming down the back straight for the last time, turn 17. All he has is 2 corners remaining. Turns 18, turn 19, and Lando Norris is your Miami GP winner for the first time ever in his career. Lando Norris is an F1 winner. Unbelievable. Max Verstappen in second, Charles Leclerc in third, Carlos Sainz in fourth, Perez in fifth, Hamilton in sixth, Tsunoda, a great drive from him in P7. Russell will come around from and hold off a charging Alonso, who's just running out of laps, in P8, and Alonso 9th, Ocon 10th, as Gasly is under attack from Stroll, but it doesn't really matter. He's got a 10-second time penalty. Piastri might overtake Zhou here at the end of the race to get into P14. Really unfortunate for Piastri, but Lando Norris is the headline here, guys, that he has won his first ever race in F1. Oh my God. On merit. I'm sorry if I'm a bit loud and shouty at the moment, but I think it's well deserved. Unfucking believable. What a drive. What a drive. I'm not even doing driver of the day, because that is hands down majority Lando Norris's. He's just beaten, guys, Max Verstappen on merit. For the first time in this year, and the first time in God knows how many races, Max Verstappen has been beaten out on circuit by pace alone. And now, look, there could be a factor of that Max does have a bit of additional damage to his car from a mistake he made, a driver error, by whacking the cone straight on through turn 15, the chicane. However, Max didn't really have sufficient pace throughout this Grand Prix before that, whereas Lando did. And those upgrades at McLaren, I think a round of applause, guys, needs to go to McLaren, because we know Lando's got it, but wow, those upgrades have definitely had the intended effect. Wow. If you've enjoyed this race, if you've enjoyed this watch along and this commentary, guys, hit the like button, but hit that subscribe button. Please hit the subscribe button. There's still 6,000 of you in this stream. There's got to be 300 of you haven't hit the subscribe button and get this to 22,000. What a stream. What a race. Thank you very much, guys, for everyone tuning in. I'm going to listen to Lando right now on the TV. What's his response? Is he shouting? Is he crying? It's just a big old woo for Lando. And a few swear words chucked in as well. Great performance from Lando Norris and the McLaren team. It's taken him a few years. I called him a bottle job on Friday. I think it was warranted, but what a way to answer myself, his critics who thought he couldn't get it done. And Lando Norris is your winner of the Miami GP. Wow. Have to completely disagree with you there. Music to my ears. Norris had the pace throughout this race. No intending of rhyming there. Norris had the pace to completely win this race on merit alone. Verstappen did not have it. The Red Bulls didn't have it this weekend. They just seemed to be off the pace all weekend. Not off the pace, but something didn't quite seem right. it didn't quite see, something just wasn't quite right with that Red Bull this weekend. And well, it came to fruition on the Sunday, where the McLaren have been able to just... Is he crying? No, he's not crying. He's just overjoyed. I thought we might see some tears from Lando, but Lando is not going to go down as a driver who has never won a race in F1. That is now, as they say, the monkey's now off his back. And well, let's see if this is the first. I think this will be the first of many. If he's given the car, he will win plenty of races. But how good was it to see a driver, a car out there on merit, beating a Red Bull? Wow. Wow. Thanks, Jeffrey. Thank you, guys. Yeah, thank you to everyone who's tuned into the stream. As I said, we've got nearly 1,500 likes in this stream. If you could, I need 30 more likes. Come on, 30 more likes in the stream. And, well, we need 300 of you to hit the like button to get us to 22,000. That'd be amazing. But, yeah, regardless, absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. His first win would have been so much more fitting in Austria, but without a doubt, a well-deserved victory. Look, there's plenty of McLaren fans. There's plenty of Lando fans in the crowd, and I mean, who had that written on their card, on their bingo card for this weekend, guys? Who thought Lando Norris would win that race? I said Charles Leclerc. I didn't think Lando. I said Lando might get on the podium. I said Lando might get on the podium because I think that car's got pace. But wow, I did not see that. The pace he had, that first stint, was sublime. Was absolutely sublime. He was patient. He waited behind Sergio Perez. He didn't lose any time. And then as soon as he got clean air, he just went, boom, the afterburners were turned on, and he was setting fastest lap after fastest lap after fastest lap. Verstappen didn't have any answer to it. And then he came in onto the hard compound tyre. Max had issues on the hard compound tyre. And then, yeah, I mean, I think Max probably had some damage due to that mistake he made, which is all totally on Max. There's no one else to blame but him for that. But even before that, before he hit that cone, Lando was faster than Max, and that's impressive. That's impressive. So I did predict exactly. I'm not quite the prophet, but like, what would you call it? Not prophecy or prophet, psychic or whatever. I'm not quite psychic. I can't quite see into the future that far, but yeah. But thanks, Big Room. Woo, what a race, guys. Yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm not going anywhere just yet. Don't you worry. We can chat and discuss this race. There's a lot still to discuss throughout. Of course, a lot of focus is on Lando and what happened out up front, but there's still quite a bit to discuss further down the grid. So let's have a run through, guys, of the final grid positions as penalties have now been applied. So your eyes are not deceiving you. Lando Norris in the McLaren starting P5 today is your winner of the Miami GP. His first win in F1. It's been a long time coming as I'm watching him just dive straight into his team. What a response. What a great celebration they're going to have tonight. Max Verstappen, P2. We do think that he picked up a bit of damage, but that Red Bull wasn't quite its supreme self today or over this weekend. Something not quite right with them at this circuit. Leclerc and Sainz maximising pretty much again what they can in those two Ferraris. I mean, if they get their upgrades right, we could see Ferrari, that the tables completely turn when it comes to Imola in a couple of weeks' time, where Ferrari are bringing upgrades. And we could be in for very interesting rest of this season if we've seen similar today, where there is genuine performance gains on the Red Bull. We could potentially go from a season, which we thought was going to be purely dominant by Max, be more competitive than we actually thought. Perez in P5, once again, second Red Bull, not quite at it, seemed to struggle with that Red Bull this weekend. Hamilton, great result from him in P6 on the alternative strategy, beating his teammate comfortably by like 17 seconds, pretty much, it seems there. We have Tsunoda, great result for Tsunoda in P7, guys. For you Yuki fans out there, what was a poor start to the weekend in sprint quali and the sprint race, a great result from him in the quali and the race, up 3 positions to P7. Russell, not a great weekend really, or the race weekend for him in P8. Alonso, good recovery, up from 15th to 9th. Ocon sneaks a point for Alpine. Is that their first point this season? Is that their first point this season? Fastest lap was Oscar Piastri, I believe. I think it was Oscar Piastri. Yeah, so Ocon sneaks there into P10. Then we have Nico Hulkenberg in P11. Just missing out on the points positions there. Gasly in P12, so not a bad finish from him. But he did get beaten by his teammate Ocon. That is really a battle between those two French drivers this year. Piastri, real shame from him picking up that front wing damage. Still not sure how it happened. It was either debris or it was contact with Sainz potentially. But yeah, dropped him further down the pack and he had to pit for a new front wing in 13th. Still yet to get those upgrades, which Lando used this weekend. So he's got that to look forward to at Imola. Guan Yu Zhou up 5 positions to 14th. I said it at the start of this race, guys. Did I say Danny Ricciardo, if he finishes 15th, he'll finish 15th. That is a good race for him today. And he did. So yeah, good race for Danny Ricciardo finishing 15th. Not sure how many of those were actually done out on track though, because Lance Stroll got a penalty. Magnussen obviously had the damage with Sargent, Albon. So maybe a bit of a false performance there really from Ricciardo finishing 15th. But yeah, qualifying always left him on the back foot. Bottas 16th. Stroll, he got 4 off tracks, received a time penalty at the end, 10 seconds. So he finished 17th. Magnussen 18th, Albon 19th, and Sargent 20th. Woo! What a race, guys. What a race. If you can hit the like button, surely there's... surely not all 1,700 of you are in here now have hit the like button. Sorry, not the like button. The subscriber button. Surely there is 200 and... Let me do my maths. 88 of you who haven't hit the subscribe button. Go on. You could do it. That number right above my head in the top right corner, you can see if that goes up. Push it up. Right. Sainz's rear tyre absolutely crushed the front left wing of Oscar's wing, did it? Okay, but then that's where he got the front wing damage from. Lando tactically lost some nose skin and gave him an aerodynamic. We're going to see all the drivers with a little bit of a patch off their nose in Imola. Did Max not even give Lando a hug or congrats? I'm not sure, actually. Not sure. I haven't seen it. Lando did just win because of the safety car. He was much faster in general. Max made a mistake which caused him to be slower. It wasn't luck whatsoever. That was pure performance and skill driven today. Lando was by far the quickest driver out on that track. By far. Even without the safety car, I think he would have comfortably beaten Max. The only difference that we would have seen was Lando would have come out behind Max, probably, with his last pit stop. And then he would have had to have overtaken Max out on track, which probably would have been quite comfortable. But just listening to what Max is about to say now in his post-race interview, see if he actually had any damage. Let's see. Max did congratulate Lando, just a hand, class and hug. Fair enough, yeah. He seems very happy, though. Max seems very happy for Lando. So just having a look at Max, seeing what he's saying. He's saying he's on the medium tyre. Hang on. Wow. So Max not reporting that they had damage. He's just saying, Max just said he was very impressed by the McLaren's times when he was told them. And he was struggling. He goes, I was slightly pulling away on the medium compound tyre in the first stint, but it was still a bit slidey. It wasn't great. And then we was on the hard and I couldn't get it to work. And he hasn't said anything about damage. That was purely performance-based today, guys, with the cars and the drivers. And Lando Norris came out on top. So there you go. From the horse's mouth himself. Wow. What a job by Lando. What a job by Lando. Yeah, the Red Bull just wasn't at the races here. I say it wasn't at the races, like it was still the second fastest car, but he wasn't. The Red Bull wasn't the supreme self what we've seen. Now, there's a number of reasons why that could be. This is a bit of an outlier track, a bit like Singapore, where this is a temporary race circuit. So the deg is always very different. Like the tyre temp warm-up is very different. Of course, it's a sprint race weekend. There was only one practice session to really dial in the setup. Of course, you could use a sprint race as information to change your setup, but still, you don't get all the required information that you'd want like you do from 3 practice sessions. So yeah, that was... so there's a number of things. We'll see how they are in Imola. Of course, I think quite evidently the McLaren's upgrades have worked a treat. So we'll see if that translates to Imola in a few weeks' time. Ferrari are bringing upgrades, as I said, multiple times apparently to Imola. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see if that gap has closed truly to those Red Bulls, or if it is purely track specific. Of course, I hope it isn't track specific, and I hope we're going to have more like closer races and more race winners throughout the rest of this season, because that'll make it more interesting. So we're not seeing Lando overtake to get to the front. Yeah, I think that's the only thing that I probably would have said. I probably would have wanted more of in this race, was to see a proper fight for the win. However, considering we've been so devoid of other race winners in the past 2-3 years outside of Red Bull and Max Verstappen in particular, I am not going to complain about this race and Lando and the manner in which Lando won this race. I hope you don't either. So can you show us pumping the champagne? I can't, unfortunately. If I show you any TV coverage, I'll get flagged like that. So so sorry for Max. I'm sure he'll be okay. Well done, Lando. Many wins to come. Yeah, hopefully. Oscar drove very well today, Rob. Yes, Oscar is driving the McLaren, which doesn't have any upgrades this weekend, which is normally how it works, especially in this cost cap era. They don't have the luxury of being able to create upgrades for both cars at kind of the same time. Of course, they also want to gather that data as well. Are the upgrades going to work? Because they don't want to put upgrades on a car that aren't, on both cars that aren't going to work. They might as well have those 2 different data points that they can work from. So I imagine Oscar will have the upgrades for Imola, but he drove very well today. So unfortunate with the battle with Sainz. They tangled quite a few times. I need to see exactly what happened between them, because the first incident they had down into turn 11 was under investigation, and then they said no further investigation. And then there was another one, which I think is where Oscar got the front wing damage, as you're suggesting, and they will have they're reviewing that after the race. So Sainz potentially could end up further down. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. Didn't they share the upgrades? No, not this weekend. No. As I kind of just pointed out. Since he didn't get the points, the Ferrari still get more points than McLaren from this race. Yeah, it's a shame. But look, I think if you offered McLaren a race win, especially for Lando, at the start of this week, they would have snapped your hand off, broken your leg. They would have taken every single limb that you had to offer, because rather than getting more points than Ferrari, because this is a moment they won't forget, and definitely a moment that Lando Norris won't forget. So Sainz was hunting Charles at the end. I did note that, given. I did, but he didn't have enough in the end. He didn't have enough. I think that was mainly because of tyre difference. You can see there, Charles Leclerc had 8-lap older tyres to Sainz. And also, there's also a point where it comes in the race where Leclerc probably realises he didn't have the pace to catch Verstappen, and you just manage the tyres and don't do anything stupid to the end of the race. Sainz would have pushed. If Leclerc probably would have had enough, maybe at the end, to hold off Sainz in the end. So poor Oscar's been receiving damage almost every race. Yeah, it's a shame. But he can take positives from this weekend, especially, and he also can sit there and go, I've just seen my teammate win with the brand new upgrades and beat the Red Bull on pace alone, but on performance related. So he knows he's got that car coming his way, and that could be him in the next race or the next couple of races on that top step of the podium. So yeah, it'll be a moment where obviously he'll be upset, but I think he'll be happy for Lando, he'll be happy for the team, and he'll be excited about what's to come. I'm from Ingolstadt and would like to hear your prediction for Audi. A bit worried, to be honest, but also excited. I think they'll improve the current Stake F1 team, or Sauber team that it's known as, but I don't expect them to go straight to the top. I think they're creating their own engine, Harold. I think a lot of it will depend on their engine. If they can create their own engine and it's very high performance, because at the moment Sauber is a customer team. They are a customer team of Ferrari, so it's all dependent, I think, on that engine. If they get their engine right, then yeah, they potentially could do very well. But yeah, I wouldn't expect anything. I wouldn't expect them to be competing for podiums straight out the block. They'll be aiming to be kind of best of the rest, take that step up, probably in stages, be a team that can fight Aston, fight for the points consistently, and then gradually progress up to the podium. So yeah, I think they've got the backing. They're moving into a team that's not starting completely from scratch. So yeah, it's all dependent on that engine, which I don't have any information on, unfortunately. So Yuki's turning into a real driver this year. Yes, yeah. So I'm just listening to the drivers, seeing what they're saying. Oh no, not. They've skipped away from it. They're not really letting us listen. That's a shame. What was I about to say? Yuki's turned into a real driver. Yes, so he had a very poor start to this weekend. The sprint qualifying and sprint race were not good for him. But of course, he's turned it around. Whatever he learned in those 2 sessions, he either changed the setup or just learned something. He corrected that and had a great qualifying performance. Yuki has a bit of a track record of not performing well on sprint race weekends because he has... I think he's affected by the lack of practice session, the lack of time to dial in setups. Now, this year that rule's changed. You can change the setup after the sprint race, so you can change it for the qualifying and the race on Sunday. So if it wasn't for that, maybe he would have not done as well as he did in this race or in qualifying. But whatever he's learned on the track, I think on qualifying, on sprint shootout and the race and the sprint race, he's been able to adjust his setup and then incorporate that into the race, into qualifying and the race today. So yeah, didn't really do anything special out there. He just gained 3 positions kind of naturally, gained 1 from Piastri from him pitting, and I think he I don't know if he overtook Russell. Actually, no, I think he had a bit of a will-to-will battle with Russell, actually, which he held on to. And he did have a bit of a tangle with Hamilton as well, which Hamilton then regained the position from. So he had a bit of will-to-will fighting out there. And, yeah, managed to split the 2 Mercedes. So a great result from him. Really good result. If Sainz gets 5-second penalty, he remains in front of Ham. Yeah, it depends on what penalty they give, but I think at worst it'll be a 5-second penalty. But yeah, so there's a potential, depending on whose fault that is, Sainz could be dropping down, could be swapping positions with Perez, but we'll see. Yuki is doing he's doing great from years time. He just needs to be more patient. Yeah, well, he is doing that. I've been a very big critic of Yuki. I do still think like it's about time that you started putting in these performances. But yeah, he's been fortunate enough that he's been given that time to progress. Not many other drivers would have been afforded that time, as we've seen in the past. And he's now doing well. The only unfortunate thing for Yuki is that I don't think he's ever going to get promoted to that Red Bull team, because Honda's leaving, and yeah, I think he's either going to stay in the AlphaTauri and will be lining up alongside Liam Lawson, or he'll be somewhere else. I don't know. I think he might be without a seat next year. I genuinely think that might be the case. I don't know. Because Behrman's coming in. We know Antonelli might have a seat at Williams. So if he gets chucked out of AlphaTauri, I don't know where he's going to go. Because Aston Martin, who have the Honda relationship from next year, or from 2026, I think. Or is it next year? Can't remember. But very soon. They've got Stroll and Alonso tied up. So where does he go? Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. I think the only place we see him on the grid next year is AlphaTauri. I genuinely think so. I don't think he's going to Red Bull. I mean, that Lando didn't win a title will no longer be used. Exactly. RBF decision to make about Yuki. Kudos to him improving so much. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know how long his contract is there for. I don't know what the situation is. I mean, they said they've promised a seat to Lawson, but we know what they're like, Red Bull. They can change their decision on a whim, can't they? So I would you trust what Helmut Marko tells you? If he promised you a seat, would you really sit there and go, yeah, I really think he's going to, like, I'd always be sitting there going that nothing's guaranteed. So 2025 will be development year for Audi for 2026 rules. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Replace Sargent with Vettel. No, I think Vettel's had his day. I think Sargent's going to be replaced by Antonelli. So Kimi Antonelli, Mercedes have applied for like special dispensation for him to have a super license before he's 18. He turns 18 in August. Why would you ask Kimi Antonelli to have a super license if you wasn't going to bring him into an F1 seat before August? It's kind of giving the game away there. I think that he'll be in... Imola is also a circuit, is Kimi Antonelli's home circuit. He's also just been doing some testing there in the W12 and W13. So he's familiar with that circuit. It's a great place for him to probably start his F1 career. It'll be with Williams. How long... I think the more of the question is, how long will he be at Williams for? Do you... Okay, Aaron. Just because Toto denied it, do you think he's going... Toto's probably denied it out of respect of Sargent and out of respect for James Vowles, because James Vowles hasn't announced it himself and probably has a manner in which he's dealing with the situation with Sargent. But I think that's a done deal. I think we'll see over the next week. Give it a week or so for this race to die down. People forget about, obviously, Sargent and Magnussen colliding. And I think Sargent will be out of that. I think they'll be like, Sargent's gone, Antonelli's in. That's just my thoughts and opinions. So no, I know, Aaron, I know, but I don't trust anything that any driver or any team principal says because we know it's very fickle. It's just mostly it's probably out of respect. James Vowles is a former colleague of his. He respects James Vowles and he has a way and a manner in which he's dealing with the whole situation. Probably at Williams, and yeah, James Vowles probably just wants to do it in a specific manner and not because it's disrespectful, isn't it, kind of to a driver and to anyone to say like, oh yeah, this young driver's coming in and it hasn't even like been officially announced and stuff, you know. Probably wants to do it through the official channels rather than it being through social media, even though everything gets kind of leaked now anyway. So Sainz has a super license, or Max, was it even before driver's license? Max had a super license at 17, I think. I don't think he had one before turning 17. So remember when Toto said he put a monkey in the seat before driver? Did he say that? Exactly. So the driver market's really interesting at the moment. It really is. I can't tell you what the lineup's going to be for next year, considering we've just had... I mean, it's good though, because we had the first time ever this year every single driver retain their seat from the previous season. Not one rookie this year, or one driver change. So yeah, Lewis Hamilton started it all off with the Ferrari move, and now look, there's still like 10 drivers out of contracts for next year. So yeah, no, thank you very much, guys. Thank you. We hit over 21,000 subscribers. Thank you. There's still 850 of you in here. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, please do. We're still going to chat for a little bit longer. So yeah, get that number up. Get it to 22,000. 1,500 likes. Woo! Thank you. What is up with Mercedes? Where do you want me to start with Mercedes? Mercedes. They just got it wrong. They don't have a car that is anywhere near... they're just on the back foot. They're a year or so behind in development. They got their concept wrong. Exactly, ready. Yeah, they messed up their aerodynamics primarily. The engine is a good engine, because McLaren are doing fine. They're a customer team. Aston Martin have had spells where they've been good and better than Mercedes. Mercedes ultimately have a very unbalanced car. So as an example this weekend, they are running a much larger rear wing than the likes of Red Bull and McLaren. Now, the reason for that is because they're trying to add more downforce onto the car to give it more balance. But the car is still very unbalanced. and they're a lot draggier, which means they're a lot slower because of that larger rear wing down the straights. So that's why you saw Lewis not able to overtake Perez today, is because even though he had DRS, because he's just not got the straight line speed or the top speed because of that larger rear wing to give him more balance and stability for the corners than the Red Bulls have. So that's the trade-off they've got at the moment. So the Red Bulls and the Mercedes, the Red Bulls and McLarens are able to go through the corners quicker than the Mercedes with a thinner rear wing and go quicker in a straight line. So they're just massively on the back foot, and yeah, they'll be wanting these regulations to change quickly. They'll be wanting 2026 to come around sooner rather than later. So yeah, their drivers are good enough. Hamilton hasn't lost it, contrary to what people think. Russell is a good enough driver. Hamilton has been chasing performance for like the start of this regulation set, like just absolutely tampering around with his setups to try and get it in a window where he potentially can unlock some performance. And sometimes it's worked, and sometimes, most often than not, it hasn't worked. So yeah, that's why it looks like sometimes he's not been very quick, because he's just trying to chase a setup that will give him any ounce of performance. But yeah, they don't. Mercedes just overall are just chasing, and they're haven't got enough time to catch up. So has my wheel still been acting up? It goes through spells. Yeah, it goes through spells. So doesn't look like I'm going to be getting a wheel from Fanatec anytime soon. If the new videos that come out about their situation. Check out some of their situation at the moment. Fanatec, they're not in a great place whatsoever. So is new departure already destabilising Red Bull? Well, I hope it's the first domino of many. Alex, from a selfish point of view, I don't think so. No, I think he hasn't been working on the 2020. He didn't have that much input on last year's car. He only had like slight input on the suspension. He had more input on the initial concept for this regulation set and interpreting the regulations. But last year, didn't really need it. And his influence was minimal. But that's kind of like, that's because of the luxury that Red Bull had, is that they'd already kind of nailed the concept. You could argue because of Nui's input. It's not just Nui's input, but that's what a great leader kind of consultant does, is that they point their team and the good staff that they have underneath them in the right direction. But yeah, I mean, it was eventually, and it always happens at the end of every regulation set, a team kind of hits a ceiling in regards to performance, and it's inevitable that the teams will eventually catch up. Hopefully, this is what we're seeing. We're seeing that moment of Norris and the McLarens with their new upgrades actually beating the Red Bull of Max on performance alone. Not because of damage, not because of outside influences. Yes, there was a safety car, but Norris was the fastest man out on circuit, and this whole weekend, arguably, other than kind of, you could say, the qualifying balls up and qualifying yesterday, was the fastest man all weekend. So yeah, could be track specific. We'll see in Imola if it's a lot closer. If it still is closer, we'll still expect Max and Red Bull to be out front at Imola, a more traditional race circuit. But yeah, it's hopefully, fingers crossed, guys. We've still got 18 races remaining, haven't we? 17 races remaining. Like, that's a lot of racing still to be done, and hopefully it's more of this, where it's Ferrari going to bring upgrades and the racing is a lot closer. So why do actors come to F1? Kendall posing, because it's marketing, basically. It's marketing. Some of them are genuinely interested in F1, some of them aren't. Some of them are just interested in the event itself because other people they know are going to be going, and some people genuinely want to be there because it's F1. But F1, Liberty Media want them there because they're getting... Kendall Jenner has, like, what, 150 million followers on Instagram and Twitter, and all her socials has probably got like over 500,000. That's potentially hundreds of millions of people that are going to see her at the F1 Grand Prix, and combined with all the other celebrities and sports stars that are there as well, whether they like it or not. It's just exposure at the end of the day for the cost of, like, I don't know what it is, a free ticket or whatever they give them, like, you know, so free hospitality and things. Not that they're so hard done, but they can't afford it in the first place, you know. Hope you can get yourself a new wheel before this one really starts acting. I hope so. Yeah, I mean Veloce, I think yeah, they're trying to seek some options, shall we say. Still time for Lando World Drivers Championship. Yeah, potentially. Red Bull's just got the correct aero stuff. It's working really well for them. I thought so. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they nailed it from the start. And this is what I'm hoping. Obviously, everyone has been shouting, of course, for new regulations. We need new regulations. We need them for it to be competitive again. However, if you look at history, there is genuinely always one team that nails the new regulations. And I so hope we at least get 2 teams who nail the regulations. Or actually, I hope all of them don't nail the regulations and they all get it drastically wrong like they did in this regulation set. And we actually get multiple teams and multiple drivers fighting for race wins and championships. That would be amazing. But it's never really happened in the history of F1. One team always gets it right. And we always get to an end of a regulation set where we're like, oh, now we've got great competition because everyone's caught up. And then we change it again. And we go for the exact period that we've just been through with Max and Red Bull. We had it with Mercedes and them with the hybrid era. Arguably slightly different because we at least had 2 teammates fighting it out, which kept things interesting. Then we had, of course, Red Bull with Vettel. But then at least like we had other... They didn't win 20-odd races in a season. So, yeah. Thanks, Andy. Yeah, we hit a PB today. 9,000 viewers. Concurrent. 9,000. All for you, Lando. All for you, Lando. Yeah, 9,000 viewers. Unbelievable. Can't believe that. If you're here and you know any sponsors and you'd like to sponsor the stream, please do. Because, yeah, it'd be nice to make this a full-time career. Won't lie to you guys. 9.2k. Yeah, unbelievable. That's every stream just keeps getting better and better. And I thought with the change in time zone as well, because we've flipped on its head time zone. We've gone from very early morning, where a lot of obviously the Eastern world, Australia, Asia, etc. It's like early in the morning for them. I thought like that's going to be completely different this time around. But no, how wrong I was. So yeah, thank you guys. Why did Stroll get a 10-second penalty? Because he got too many track limits violations. Here's the track limit violations. Albon got 4. Doesn't really matter for Albon because he finished 19th anyway. And yeah, Stroll got 4 as well. So yeah, that's why. But we have a close battle in the championship this year. That's a test what's to come for Asian Nuri. Yeah. But that also, guys, has not only broken Max Verstappen's 100% race record this year. Of course, he lost in Australia, but the races that he's finished, that's not only what Norris has broken, but he's also broken Max Verstappen's dominance in the US. He has won the last 6 races, or like the sprint race, arguably 7 races in the US. And today, Lando Norris has broken that. So yeah, it has been, the US has purely been owned F1 wise for by Max Verstappen, and Lando McLaren broke that today. So thanks, Dave. When am I streaming iRacing? Tomorrow. Fire. I have a day off tomorrow. It's a bank holiday in the UK. So yeah, I will be racing tomorrow. So yeah, make the most of it. I need to recover some I rating and some safety rating. So, am I from London? Yeah, I'm just outside of London, Ali. Just outside. Is your second name Stroll? But yeah, no, thank you guys. No school tomorrow. Yeah, so let's just have one more rundown of the grid. So, actually, before we have a rundown on the grid, I'm still not 100% sure that Kevin Magnussen was at fault for that incident, you know. I'm still not... I need to see it again, but I'm pretty sure he was sufficiently alongside Sargent. However, I'm guessing with the new racing rules, as you know, they go, oh, well, he was probably at the peak of the apex. He had the right to drive out. He owned the corner, and Sargent had the right to drive out and run Magnussen out of room. But I don't believe that. From what I saw from his onboard, I thought he was more than enough alongside him. So I'm still a bit bizarre. I'm still a bit befuddled by that one. So have you get rest of your... Oh, definitely Bear. Yeah, definitely will do. I should get a fan meet up at some point. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. I think what I'll do... so I'm part of the Missed Apex podcast, Ali. I don't know if you listen to those guys. Great podcast. I'm a panelist of theirs. If you want F1 content throughout the year, even in the off seasons, even in the weeks where, like now, we have a 2-week break to Imola, they have continued guests from F1. We have like questions that are that you can put in from listeners that we answer as well, and we're doing some live shows this year. I don't run the podcast, but I'm a panelist on it. Bunch of great guys and girls, and we do content throughout the whole year. So definitely go subscribe to them on YouTube. You can listen to them on Spotify as well. They're actually out there live, so they're actually out there now in Miami. First time they've done a live show outside of the UK. It will be recorded. It's not going to be live this evening, but it will be recorded, so you can listen to it from tomorrow. And yeah, I will be... I don't know when I'll next be on there, but I will be on there probably on a morning... Sorry, a weekday kind of like news catch-up probably will be my next one. And then, yeah, I'll be on another race review soon, but we'll probably do some meetups as well, and some live shows in the UK, probably in and around London. So, yeah. What time will I be racing tomorrow, Given? I'll probably go live like... it depends what time I wake up. I just turn your notifications on. I would say probably... I'm going to try and aim for like midday, if I can. Probably just after midday, and I'll probably stream to like dinner time, probably. So, patreon.com. Yes, there is a link that keeps coming through the channel for Missed Apex F1. So, he did it, Tom. He did it. Yes, he did it. I'm very hot and bothered in here right now because of how great a drive Lando did. Thank you to everyone still tuning around to listen to me waffle. Don't think he was alongside enough based on the onboards. I need to see it again, Jack. I'd really like to see an overhead shot. It's the one view that we didn't get enough of. I thought on the onboards he was alongside. I thought he was more than alongside. But I want to see that onboard. I want to see that overhead shot. I'll see if I can find it on Twitter. See if anyone finds it on Twitter at all. McLaren back, yeah, hopefully. Oh look, speak of the devil. This is this is Spanners. That's the host of the Missed Apex podcast in Miami at Turn 18. His first live race since 2013. Wow. Just try and find. I don't know if we can find. See if I can find it. Let me search it in. I really want to find and see if Magnussen... I mean, it doesn't really matter because, like, it's Sargent and Magnussen, let's be honest. But, yeah. I see it. Last McLaren win was Ricciardo. Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Monza. Yeah, it was. Okay, so... this has actually been posted by Tomo F1. This is the point of contact. So I'm going to get rid of this. We're kind of looking at Twitter and that now. So that is the point of contact. And he was actually a little bit further up. It's when Magnussen realised there was going to be contact that he kind of like lifted off a little bit because he was going over to the curb. But I just don't see how he's warranted, like, not warranted room there. I've got a feeling it's because they'll go at the like peak of the apex that he'll be given. Like he was allowed to go through that corner, but I still don't believe that's a penalty. I think that's super harsh, and I think the stewards have got that wrong. I think other people have just said it's because he had not far enough alongside to warrant Logan leaving a space. I mean, how much more alongside does he need to be? Yeah, it just seemed a bit odd. Let's see if there's any other kind of images or stuff of it. No, not really. But everyone's really happy, of course, about Lando Norris, of course. So I need to be careful, because if I do anything else, I might get done for copyright. Ooh. He shouldn't have got that close. What? Magnussen? I think when you look at it back, Magnussen when he had more grip and went round the outside. He did the cutback and he went round the outside of Logan Sargent. And for me, it was a great move that he probably would have made if Sargent gave him the room. But he didn't. But then again, it's also harsh. But then it's also very relevant of what we've seen with these new cars, which are the widest and longest they've ever been in F1 history. And the fact that we see this all the time just clearly indicates that these drivers just don't have enough peripheral vision. They don't have... The blind spots in these cars are so big now that Logan Sargent, in his defence, probably didn't even know Magnussen was there. Because it's a left, left, where he's probably looking at the apex and not going to be looking at his right rear view mirror to see exactly where Magnussen is. Probably thinks he's far enough ahead, and Magnussen's in his blind spot. So that's in defence of Logan. However, I don't see how it's Logan's corner when Magnussen was that far around. So, but I think they probably reckon because of the because he was ahead at the peak of the apex of turn 1, or turn 2 technically, and then going into turn 3, which is where they crashed. It's his corner and he had the right to drive out into that space and give Magnussen no room. But I don't agree with that. And that's the rules of F1, which I fucking hate, to be honest with you. So, K-Mag really is the final boss battle in midfield. Let me see if I can... Oh, apparently Donald Trump was in very fitting, I guess. He's got his face is so orange it matches that Browns t-shirt. Oh, actually, a photo with Esteban Ocon. I'm trying to find. What am I trying? I was trying to find something. True, they are hard to handle. Why don't they think... Oh, that's it. I wanted to show you the size difference between... 2024... Size comparison. There was an image that came out with a size comparison of both. There we go. This. So, this right here... Why can't I just open the image in new tab? Sorry, guys. I will show you this. This is what I mean about the size of the cars. So, this is... I mean, this is like their first iteration of their car, but... Where am I going? Is it about... Trump's going to be like... Well, you know, it was me, and because of my presence and my energy, that's why McLaren won their first race, and Lando won his first race, and that is my very poor Trump impression, but... It was all because of me. Right, so here we go. This is the 2005. This is a genuine photo for an exhibition event that they did, where the 2005... Red Bull, so I think this was their first car, to the 2024 car, so this year's car. Look at the size comparison. It looks like a little diddy baby. Look at the size of it. It's unbelievable. So that's why these drivers, that's why for one, we go to a number of circuits that probably aren't big enough for these cars now, i.e. Monaco, even Imola next week. We won't see too much overtake, in the next race, we don't see too much overtaking there because these cars have outgrown those circuits, and the corners just aren't wide enough for these cars to go round. That's why the likes of Silverstone, the Chinese Grand Prix that we went to, Spa, we need Hockenheim back on the circuit, Nürburgring, these proper GP circuits that are wide enough for these cars to go side by side, because look how big they've got. I mean, I was fortunate enough to go to the Mclaren factory, as I said a number of times, and I stood alongside the W11 and the W12. And they are so big. You look at the cockpit and you're like, a 5'5" man is driving this absolute beast of a car. Like, it's crazy, absolutely crazy how big they are. It's like a toy. Yeah, exactly. Lando's going to get a penalty for saying the F word. I'm sure whatever penalty he gets given, he will happily pay it, Dave. Just don't understand why they can't bring those regs back with modern engines. Because it's a natural progression. I imagine it's probably to do with like the manufacturer and stuff. It's also company led. It's also company led as well. There's, I mean, to be fair, like the engines are all directed mainly at the manufacturers. Like the manufacturers are like, no, we want it to have road relevance. That's why we had the hybrid era, and that's why we're now going to we're reducing the impact of the MG UK or something. I don't know if that's got road relevance to it. I think it has. Because I think the new 2026 regs, the way that the engine regs are going to work, are because they were driven by Porsche. So Porsche were going to initially partner up with Red Bull and become their engine partner, but they then pulled out of that deal after getting all the regulations changed in preparation for them joining in 2026. So yeah, I think Red Bull even wanted the regs changed again to suit themselves, because I don't think it's going very well with them and Red Bull. But yeah, they turned that down and they're like, no. But there will be changes to the regs, I think, because reports are that the way the aerodynamics are supposed to be designed, they're not very stable. Cars are spinning when they open the DRS down the straights and stuff in the simulations. So yeah, there's going to be some changes aero-wise, but I think the engine regs are going to be staying as they are. So first race without Adrian Newey and they lose. Yeah, I'm intrigued. So let's have a look at the schedule that's coming up, guys. I've got Sky Sports saved. Why is that not? Hang on. So I've got Sky Sports. This is where I go to for my schedule. It's literally Sky Sports. That's just what I do. Oh crap! Hang on. Let's just do that and let's move. Yeah. So we've already had Bahrain, Saudi, Oz, Japan, China. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 races we've had now. So we now head to Italy in a couple of weeks' time, which is for the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, which is Imola in layman's terms. So yeah, 17th of May to 19th of May, so that's a couple of weeks. Then we go from Italy to Monaco, which is the 24th to 26th of May. We then have Canada, which I'm on holiday for Canada. I'm away. However, I might try and find a solution that I don't know. I got to try and see if I could do something for it. I don't know, or I may just have to admit defeat on that one, and I can't. I can't race. I can't do the watch along for Canada. I did try and book a holiday for in between Canada and Spain, but it just didn't work out that way. Stream from the beach. Yeah, I might do actually. Actually, it'd be late at night because I'm going Turkey, so it'd be like a late evening race. You better keep out of the way, Josh. Yeah, my theory is that Lando got an aerodynamic advantage thanks to his cut on the nose. Yeah, we said that earlier. People are going to be going and just chipping a bit off of the end of their nose, aren't they? So then we go from Canada to Barcelona, and then we've got Austria. Great Britain GP. So is there a triple header here somewhere? So that's a double header. Then we have Canada, which is a 2-week break from Monaco. Then we have another 2-week break to Spain. 1, 2... Yeah, we have a triple header of Spain, Austria, Great Britain, I think. Silverstone. Let's just have a quick check of that. So what is that? 23rd, 30th, 7th. Yeah, so right in the middle here, Spain, Austria, Silverstone. We've got a triple header. Oh, that's tasty. That is tasty. Then we've got Hungary and Belgium, which is Spa. And then we've got the 4-week summer break, which I think is going to be very interesting this year, guys. Silly season's going to be very interesting. So stay tuned for that. I think a lot of drivers are going to announce their moves for 2025. And then Italy. I mean, fucking hell. We've still got 1, 2, 3. I mean, the season finishes in December this year. God. So, yeah, we've still got 17 races left in this season. Wow. That is a lot. How many sprint races have we got left? Austria is a sprint race. 1, 2, 3, 4. We've still got 4 sprint weekends left. Qatar, Brazil, Kota. Is that new? Kota's a sprint race. I swear we never used to have... I swear Kota hasn't had a sprint race before, is it? Didn't have it last year, did it? No. Yeah, that's what I thought. And then... yeah. But anywho, I'm glad today, guys. I'm glad today that we didn't have rain. I'm glad today we didn't have rain, and how wrong I was, guys. How wrong I was that I said if we get one safety car, it will spoil this race. We either want none or we want 2. And, well, I'm glad we didn't get 2 because it potentially could have spoiled Lando Norris's eventual win, his first win in Formula 1. Wow. I'm now going to have to go make a video saying, I was wrong. Lando is not a bottle job. Well, he learnt from his mistake on Friday and managed it perfectly and got it across the line. Yeah, what a race from him. What a result. So, did you miss the race? Little bit late, Shabba. But yeah, I am now going to go call it a night. I just want to say a big thank you once again to everyone who tuned into the stream and is still here. Over 400 of you still here. Listen to me waffle. Yeah, what a celebration stream this is. So if you didn't catch the start of the stream, the reason I wasn't doing the sprint race yesterday and the qualifying, because I said I have family commitments, is that I've known for a while, but we found out the gender of our baby yesterday. Me and my missus are having a baby, but it's due at the end of the year. And yeah, we're having a little girl. So that was kind of the news, the big news at the start of this stream, and what a stream to celebrate that news as well, because, yeah, smashed it. Another PB today. Another PB of viewership, and this community just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and a big thank you to you all. So, yeah, thanks, Bear. Yeah, Taco, thank you, buddy. Thank you. Yeah, I'm now going to go probably create just kind of like a final thoughts video of some things. I might wait for some news and see if I can catch some more images of Kevin Magnussen incident and give my conclusive view upon that. But there'll be something going out kind of either later on this evening or tomorrow UK time for like, it's not a podcast, but it's just kind of my opinions and views on the race, which is what I want to do moving forward now, and just goings on in F1. And you guys can comment on that, and I'll have a little bit of back and forth as well. So thanks, Carl. Thank you, buddy. Yeah, so yeah, have a lovely rest of your day, guys, evening, wherever you are in the world. We smashed it out of the park again. Lando Norris. Final round of applause for Lando Norris. First ever win in F1. Got that monkey off his back, and wow. I truly hope that what we saw today, McLaren beating Red Bull, confirmed by Max Verstappen on outright performance, sets us up for a great remainder of this season. It's been dominant from Max and Red Bull for the start of this season, barring the glitch that was Australia with the brake issue. But today and this weekend, those upgrades from McLaren worked as intended. And yeah, Oscar Piastri must be very excited for what is to come, because he didn't have those upgrades this weekend. He'll be very unfortunate about, of course, his race result. But Lando Norris, man, what a result, what a drive. So yeah, have a lovely rest of your evening and your weekend, guys. And I will be live tomorrow, a sim racing stream, because I've got a day off because it's bank holiday. Woo! I get a nice little lay-in, and yeah, we'll be live sometime, probably like midday throughout the afternoon. So yeah, have a lovely day, guys. Thanks as always. See you soon. Bye.